Why are you not talking about allowances? Then we had Honorable Balumusi on the floor of Parliament, and then Honorable Ruth Cheng as the chief whip saying the doctors who are sponsored by government when they were medical students will be their resources for them. But those who sponsor themselves, there are no resources. What an irony. In a government where we've got resources for refugees from South Sudan, and I have nothing against South Sudanese, from Eritrea, from Djibouti, from Congo, we have got a budget for refugees in anticipation, and we don't have money for doctors whose parents sold their land, took loans, failed to educate other children, take them through the 5 years, and at that time, their clerkship did not matter. So they could have scorned as long as they were cleared by the dean. But now they're going to be taking care of you and I, my mother, your father, your children. And they're supposed to be on the ward 24/7, doing 24-hour shifts, 48-hour shifts, 72-hour shifts without pay. Why? Because apparently there was money somewhere at one time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a defining moment. I don't want us to spend a lot of time. I want us to be decisive. We have pushed long enough from October last year, now to August. We have written to His Excellency, to the Vice President, to the Prime Minister, to the Minister of Health. We've written to everyone, but none has called us. It was only when the interns marched to the Minister of Health that the Minister of Health now gave them audience. If that is the modus operandi they are used to, let's give it to them. We are left with no choice but to take further steps. And I want us in this meeting to be decisive. What do we do next? What do we do to be heard? Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to pause there. I want to congratulate the interns who are on this call. Please give them flowers. They have put up an unprecedented, unified stand. Against all odds, they've stood together. Now the rest of us must stand with them. They are our neonates. They are the weakest. They are the most flimsy. For me, if I don't work in Mlago, I can go and work somewhere else. They have nowhere to work. They are not even licensed. I call upon all of us to stand united, from the most junior to the medical officers, to the associate consultants, to the consultants, to the senior consultants, to the retired elders. We must stand as a medical fraternity, because the fraternity is at a crossroad. If we don't save our neonates now, after that, they're going to come for the MOs. After that, they're going to come for the associate consultants whose salaries have not been harmonized. After that, they're going to come for us, the consultants who have never been promoted. After that, they're going to come for the senior consultants who want their vehicles. After that, they're going to come for the retirees whose benefits have not come through. After that, they're going to come for our circle. They are coming for us. Unless we stand with the weakest in our society, the society is at risk to be annihilated. Therefore, whatever we're going to be deliberating on, let us be civil, but let us be decisive. And please, let us be unified. Let no one puncture holes in whatever decision we're going to make. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for a very wonderful submission. I kindly request our members, everyone in this August gathering, please stay muted until it's your time to speak. Kindly check your gadgets that you are on mute, so that we have a very conducive environment as we have these very important discussions this evening. According to the agenda, is the person that is leading the Federation of Uganda Medical Interns on call. If you're on call, it's your time to speak now. Are you on call? Federation of Uganda Interns. What about the president of FUMSA?
Let's have the
call.
FUMI. There is Dr. Jacob, and then there is Dr. Shego. So one of those two, both of them need to speak. So whichever one of the two is on, please unmute and speak.
Moderator. Sorry, can you please pass the information that you opened up a YouTube channel, like a YouTube link, so that those who cannot join by Zoom can join via YouTube. I'm going to share the link.
Thank you very much, Dr. Henry Sechanzi, for that innovation. Please share the YouTube link with our colleagues who are not able to join because our capacity is 1,000 and we are almost there so that they can join in on YouTube. Yes.
And then share the link widely. Dr. Mark, you have got the biggest reach. So once you get that link, share it on all our WhatsApp groups.
Dr. Jacob, are you here? I see Mr. Michael Owini. Is this FUMSA? Mr. Michael Owini.
Amon.
Kwasiwe Amon. As creator for the FUMI president, please have your say. Mr. Kwasiwe, the president of Federation of Uganda Medical Students Association. You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Gavin, our moderator for tonight. President Frank, our U.M.A president, U.M.A, the association presidents, and the entire medical fraternity. Good evening, first of all. I would like to really first thank U.M.A for organizing this gathering here for us to unite as one and have a common say towards the current situation that is affecting not only medical interns, but even the entire medical fraternity, because you can see what it is causing, what the president is mentioning, the ministers. It is now going to affect the entire medical fraternity, more so the medical students of Uganda that I represent as a president. FUMSA is right now, it has over 10,000 medical students in the various universities that are over 13 universities. The 14th one yet to be confirmed. And all these people, imagine, are being affected by this policy if it is not fought and put down. Medical students, from the beginning, started this fight around March when we engaged, when we got the information that leaked through the newspaper, and the medical students immediately started engaging themselves and organizing themselves. Even the current pre-interns, by that time, most of them were still students, and we had a common fight. It was a platform at that time where all of us were unified to have a common fight. At first, we thought we could have engagements one-on-one with the different bodies in the authority, like the Minister of Health, the Minister of Education, the Parliament, the Prime Ministers, and the entire state and the other stakeholders. But all that didn't yield anything at that moment. Not until the document of the entire policy came out fully, and the clauses within that policy were not well understood. And some clauses were a bit confusing because it shows that the policy is going to start to be effected, and it is only going to affect those that are entering new in the system of health training. But when we invited the Commissioner Minister of Health in charge of clinical services, and he came and explained the entire policy. Unfortunately, what we had as us, as the medical students and the entire team, was different from the perception that was coming from the one that made that policy. So it is from that point where they were forcing us that this policy must start and there is no bargaining, that students and everyone in the health fraternity got annoyed for not allowing us to be engaged in making such a decision, and we started the campaign. The campaign has been on social media, it didn't yield. Our press conferences under Uganda Medical Association, the interns, it did not yield. We went further to arranging appointments. On the days towards appointments, these ORIs, they would be blocked and we are not called for to discuss further about this policy. Then we reached at a moment of mobilizing ourselves as students to file up a case through U.M.A lawyer, which wasn't also easy due to other things that did not did not like easily unite medical students. Mostly it was a bit very expensive. But as Students United collected evidence, but we are pushing still on the part of legal. But besides that, people still keep coming up, fighting and bringing it towards us by force, which we can't accept as medical students. So we, medical students, pledge that whatever is decided here with our seniors, with the interns and everybody is in union, and we are one person. So I would like to pledge to the entire team here, the interns, the medical doctors, and all the system, the health profession, that we are united and standing and speaking one language. If it calls for medical students, mostly in these clinical years, not to be on wards, because like this time, most of them, they're the ones doing the internship work that they are not paying for. People in the hospitals are now they are feeling the gap, but still there is ego from the ministry and the other stakeholders, which is stopping them from accepting to give the little coin to the interns. The other issue that we don't want to pass at all is graduating, incorporating internship into graduation. That one is one trick that the ministry wants to use, such that they call us students and we don't even come. By this time, we wouldn't even be on the streets and refuse to be on in the hospital if we are still affiliated to the universities, if we don't have protection that we are graduates. So those are key factors, key things that medical students and other leaders must fight in this entire policy. And if it needs, they should scrap off that policy. And if it can't work, then why stress us with the internship if they cannot be able to cater for the interns? So with that, I pledge as us medical students are standing united and willing to make sure that we fight again and fight for our justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amon Kwasibwe, the current president of the Federation of Uganda Medical Students Associations that are representing 13 universities that host the medical students in Uganda. Thank you so much for that submission. I'm going to invite Dr. Jacob Mwada, the current outgoing president of Federation of Uganda Medical Interns. Please, it's your time to speak to us. Dr. Kayondo, the chief resident, prepare to say something. Dr. Mwada.
Dr. Joseph's hand is up. He's the vice president of FUMI. He can speak as Mwada gets ready also.
You're very welcome, Dr. Joseph.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our President U.M.A. My name is Joseph Atwa, and I'm the Vice President, Federation for Uganda Medical Interns. First of all, I would like to thank you, Mr. President U.M.A, Professor Frank, for convening this meeting. And I'm going to speak on behalf of the Federation. And what I would like to say is that our position is very simple. We cannot have a situation whereby the government is deploying medical interns to health facilities, expects them to work, report for duty, and provide patient care. But at the same time, they leave them uncertain about whether they will be facilitated or paid or given some remuneration. We saw the minister, the whole minister, was it today or yesterday, on a national television, somebody asking him, is it dignified for a medical doctor, somebody who has gone to medical school for 5 years, being provided with beans and posh? And the gentleman said, no, there is also rice and meat. So you can imagine such a sarcastic statement on a national television. So one thing these people have forgotten is that these guys are not merely students who are just attending lectures. they need to understand that once these guys are deployed, once an intern is deployed, that intern becomes part of the functioning of the health facility. So they participate in ward work, they participate in outpatient care, emergency services, they go to theater, they offer maternity services and other clinical services, of course, under supervision, but they do work. So therefore, if the government has really decided to deploy them, so they should be very clear and they should put it in documentation. Their position about welfare should be very clear. And of course, we had appreciated them because previously they had acknowledged these concerns, as our U.M.A president has put it clear. They had acknowledged that indeed the remove of the intern allowances was not fair. So, and they had said the policy would be reviewed. The same minister who came and said the policy would be reviewed is the same person making sarcastic statements. So, our concern now is that gap that has been created. And of course, I would like to appreciate the current interns who are being deployed. They have also made some significant contribution. And ladies and gentlemen, the interns who have been deployed, people need to understand that by the time you reach at that level, you have already made significant personal investments to reach there. You have paid tuition, you have completed the degree, and they need to recognize that. And they need to recognize that you have to travel to your deployment station. And they need to know that where you're going, you have to meet your accommodation, transport, meals. The professional fee must be met because we have already seen that as an intern, you're going to be providing services. So as I conclude, first of all, we are going to request for an immediate clarification from government on the status of internship facilitation for this current code. And they need to understand that interns should not be expected to work under uncertainty. Second, we request that no intern should be disadvantaged because of the institution or a sponsorship. You have had, we are sponsoring government, then we are leaving private. So they should not be disadvantaged. Interns undergo the same internship requirements and they provide services under the same health system. So that concern needs to be raised and it needs to be understood. Number three, if the government requires this intern to report and work, government should provide, we can call it maybe an interim financing mechanism, whereby during that process, the policy should be reviewed, but we should not allow the policy, we should not allow the policy review to leave interns without support. Number four, we propose that U.M.A, FUMI, for us, we are still there, and the relevant health sector bodies. We have the Association of Surgeons, OBS, and Gynecologists. We have Association of Orthopedic Psychiatrists, all of them. We request them that they should engage the government urgently, and we should put a clear deadline for a written commitment on payment of facilitation. And then number five, we ask that any decision taken tonight here in this meeting where we are having all of us, the biggest number, FUMI, U.M.A, that a clear mandate pursue negotiations with the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, and maybe Cabinet, where necessary, we also, put in the legal aspect. Finally, we want to emphasize that this is not simply about money. It's not about money, ladies and gentlemen. It is about the fairness, the dignity, the patient safety, as our president, U.M.A, has already put it clear. You cannot work when you're hungry. So it is about fairness, the dignity, the patient safety. It's about the sustainability of our healthcare system in Uganda. So if these interns are expected to provide essential clinical services, their welfare cannot be treated as something, as an afterthought or something to play around with. So for us as FUMI, we are ready to engage government constructively, but we also believe there must be a clear position and a clear timeline. As I conclude, for us, we look up to our elders, Uganda Medical Association, our mentors, our patron. Whatever they decide is what we shall go with. But we need to make all decisions with clear. We need to request everything when it has a clear timeline. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg to submit.
Thank you so much, Doc, the Vice President of FUMI. Allow me at this juncture to invite Dr. Kayondo, the Chief Resident. Are you on call, please? It's your time to speak.
Yes, I am.
The floor is yours.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Our U.M.A president, the U.M.A, leaders from FUMI, the pre-interns, the National Governing Council, and all the other people that are on the call tonight. And I also want to believe there are many others who would want to join up, but are probably limited by the Zoom space. The matter at hand currently is definitely one that brings a lot of sadness, not just to us or the interns that are currently maybe waiting at home, but also I believe that one that probably every individual out there that practices medicine should be worried of. The policy, yes, is over 300 pages with a lot of English and all that, but I believe if we've been actively receiving information and following updates, it is the summary and also the intention of this whole policy has already been known to each and every person. And it is also very good that it's not an issue now that is just private to us who are in the medical field, but also the entire nation. And to me, I believe this alone is one of our strong points because an invasion on the rights of interns, but also on the medical profession is really an invasion on the rights, the right to health of each and every individual out there. It's quite sad. Yes, our would-be maybe seniors that sit in the different offices that make decisions, but or advise the president or the cabinet have really decided to just throw us under the bus or to just let us to the stray dogs out there and openly trying to act ignorant to the entire path of a medical professional. I think if at all there's anyone from the ministry that is here or anyone that has access to anyone in cabinet, one thing that they should communicate is how special the medical profession is. The medical profession is one that involves a journey of learning, a journey. Every individual that is on this call is learning and they're on their path to learning something and also growing in the profession. And it's one of the things that the medical profession across different countries and over centuries has retained to be able to ensure that we can be able to provide the quality health care to each and every person. And so internship is just a starting level that the government or the people in cabinet are being ill-advised about. It's just one of those levels. A senior consultant, or sorry, let's say consultant, is also seeking to be, let's say, be promoted. In other countries, they do have also to sit an exam, which then would make them still also students of maybe medicine or students of life. So I think it's a matter that each and every person out here, the SHOs, the interns, the specialists, and everyone, the people in administration should be concerned about. I think it's very important, and also we're very grateful to U.M.A that has provided leadership and also have continuously engaged the public and also government on this matter. I think U.M.A also, by virtue of this man, also takes up the specialists and the rest, because interns, SHOs, or even medical officers, everyone is under the direct supervision of the associate consultants and also consultants, senior consultants. And it would be very vital that they themselves are very instrumental in this struggle and take up this mantle and also take on the role of leadership in this. This will stretch, I think, from those in, yes, the public institutions, the public hospitals, but I think also those that in different leadership positions in universities and elsewhere. And it's my call that, and also prayer.
I try to advocate for SHO payment.
Kindly unmute. It's our call that also them join us in this fight. But the payment, yes, for SHOs, when you look at the policy, was vague. It was vague about it. But I think, yes, it's about payment for interns, but I think also the SHOs, we have those, our colleagues that are on government payroll who are excluded, but also the refugees that probably have fled their countries and have decided to, yes, come to Uganda, advance their medical career, but also while offering service. This, I think, should be should actually touch the hearts of each and every person in government. So it's my call to everyone that is on this call, but everyone that is out there, as we leave this call with the resolutions, let's all be united behind U.M.A. Let's all be united behind the interns. Let's all be united behind the pre-interns, the medical students, the SHOs, the consultants, and push this fight until we obtain victory. The demands, I will not still retaliate them, but I think the policy, yes, should be revoked and revised after consultation of all relevant stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Derek Kayondo, the Chief Residents, leading all the senior house officers in Uganda for wonderful submission. I know time is not on our side. Yeah, but like you see on the agenda, we'll give a chance to all these people and then we open up the meeting to a discussion. Is the representative from PSU on call, Mr. President? He was invited. Representative from Uganda Dental Association, are you on the call?
I need to look through the attendees. But Dr. Lutotu, if you are on, please submit. Dr. Forget the name of the UDA president. If you're on call, please just unmute and speak. Or if the representative from the nursing association,
Uganda.
if any of those three is on, please let them unmute.
Wow, okay. As we wait for them,
let's call on the elders. If there's an elder on the call, again, I can't speak from the attendance, but surely out of 1,000 people, there must be an elder. Or someone from the NGC, someone from the professional associations.
I see Dr.
What is on call?
Good evening, all of you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I am Dr. Apollo Epworth. I'm a physician in private practice based in Tororo, and I currently chair the Uganda Medical Association Elders Forum, which constitutes many elders retired, over 60, over 65. And the forum includes your teachers, your mentors, current and probably previous. We have among our roles to be those who take care of the values of the medical profession. And we also have an advisory role to the whole association and especially to the NEC. We shall be presenting a formal written position especially directed to the ministers of health, and seeking to put our position clear in a very positive way to help Uganda have a better state of the health service. We are privileged to have a very outstanding international or global reputation in the health sector. But for now, let me just say a few things. Number one, the Minister of State for Health 2 years ago in her submission to Parliament, I think it was in August 2024, highlighted the following as constraints that affect internship. One is an inadequate budget. That was number one. Two, inadequate internship training sites. Three, limited specialist advisors. Four, increasing number of interns. Finally, that universities were not collaboratively planning and communicating with
Dr. Sebowa, kindly mute. Dr. Bule, kindly mute. Dr. Epworth, you can go on. I think Dr. Apollo Epworth's network is being challenged. I hope we can get him back shortly.
Yes, Dr. Gavin, there are some hands. Maybe we can attend to that and as we wait for Dr. Epworth to come back.
Thank you for that guidance. Yes, Dr. John Luciba, please. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair and members for this wonderful engagement. First of all, engagement is all the way to go. I support as many engagements as possible, especially with the Ministry of Health, because East or West, that is the mother ministry. We cannot avoid engaging with the Ministry of Health. I also caution that yeah, people are still unmuted, but I hope
Sorry, Dr. Luciba. Dr. Nanzira Rachel, kindly mute. Dr. Nanzira Rachel and Dr. Victor Turinawe, I think.
Thank you, moderator. I was saying the second point, very importantly, is that being a mother ministry, we should avoid name calling. There's a lot of name calling. There's a lot of people are very animated. I understand the frustration, but as much as we can, we should use the tone that Dr. Epworth, before you fell off, was trying to cultivate. We use that tone of mutual respect, because that cultivates a fertile ground for engagement. I have seen things like tyrants. I've seen things like draconian. It is okay to disagree without even calling anything a name. It is also okay to give the Ministry of Health a benefit of doubt if they didn't consult widely, so that we offer ourselves constantly for engagement. I am one of the people who thinks that actually these organizations, associations, dental, pharmacy, and medical and specialist organizations, including elders, get a permanent team, a member from each, to just be there constantly throughout your term of duty, looking at and lobbying for internship, for SHOs and fellowship trainings, because if we give it a gap, that's where the problem comes. People may not have enough time to consult, and then they'll, they may say, I think this law suits, which is not necessarily the case. So among the people, among the things I think we should do is to constantly lobby, even when things normalize and are going on well. You constantly engage and engage and engage, so that things don't go very bad, and then we start using ultimatums and things like that, which we have anyway used and sometimes have not yielded lasting results. Lastly, we are 13 universities training medical students. I trained in a time when it was Makerere and slightly later Mbarara University. We had everything in internship. We had food, we had accommodation, we had an allowance. And we worked our heads off because, we're staying in the hospital. We learned a lot of medicine for sure. Now there are 13 universities. And as we discuss about these interns that are, are stranded, if I may use the word, in terms of welfare, but the universities are manufacturing. How can that happen? How can we be one-sided when we are discussing the issue of interns? We should be very, very deliberate, go to the root cause, because our time, the doctors were hot cake. Now the economics, demand and supply forces show that actually some doctors can spend time on their streets and even do other work. Meaning that, yes, even if the government needs us, we should also look at ourselves and say, okay, these 13 universities, have we even ever engaged? I think one time Frank engaged some universities. I don't know it was about what. He went for, visited medical students one of those days before he became the president. But the engagement should
Mr.
go beyond.
Moderator, can we
Just mute and we
summarize?
go on with the meeting.
Can we
Mute and we go
summarize?
on with the meeting.
Thank you.
Can I?
Dr. John Lucifer, thank you for your submission. Kindly come to a conclusion so that also other people can
few
talk.
sentences of my
Mute him and we
submission.
continue our meeting because we are.
The last few.
We
Let's allow him
don't
to finish.
need any spies in this group. Mute him and we continue
No,
with the
no,
meeting.
no,
Please,
Exactly,
please.
We have
exactly.
no, please. Everybody has a right to speak.
Not on our forum. We are interns fighting for interns. Anyone that's not fighting for us, off
We are
the
talking on internship. We are talking on internship. We are not talking
go
on.
and speak those things in Ministry of Health, anywhere else, not when you are
We
trying to
want to
find
know
a
what the
solution
next
for
step.
Thank you
interns.
very much. Mr. President.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mr. President.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's be civil. Let's be civil. Everyone is fighting for us, but there are different approaches, and there are very many shades to any painting. There are very many touches and feels of an elephant. So let's just give each one time. I would like to beg, just a minute, Dr. Receiver, you're going to finish, but I would like everyone to be brief and not to engage in lecturing, but just be brief, make your point, and then someone else makes a submission.
So the last point is that I request that we engage both sides. These interns who are saying we are not fighting for them are not the last interns. They are making more interns. So if they are making interns, we should also be able to engage the ministry to say how much budget do you have for next year, the interns. Then we plan and we train those that are available for facilitation. I think these interns should also understand that every year, not just them, we've grown up fighting for this thing. So it has to end. Yeah, that's my last bit.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lusiba, for that submission. Like President has guided, probably each one of us should make a contribution of 2 minutes because we are 1,000 people on the call. So we shouldn't go above maybe 2 minutes. Let's make it precise and straight to the point.
1 minute.
I'll give 2 minutes to Dr. Epworth to finish his submission. I hope, Dr. Epworth, you have internet now before we call the people that are putting up their hand.
Yes,
Dr. Epworth is representing the Elders Council of Uganda Medical Association.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
have dropped off.
moderator. I actually don't know even where I dropped off, but let me conclude and say, as one said, the issue at hand, especially of discriminate sponsorship of interns, brings in issues of equity. And as somebody said, it's going to undermine our profession. It's going to undermine the quality of services we are giving. And it's going to grossly undermine the safety of the people that we serve. And we will be presenting to the minister one more time proposals that one will increase or better the quality of internship by increasing the centers. I've been one of those who went around assessing internship or centers for internship. And many places were short of 1 or 2 supervisors. And we have many retired supervisors, I'm sure, among the elders who could come back and provide supervision and teaching if government could organize this. This would solve the number, to an extent, the number of centers which are accredited and are actually qualified. Right now, interns are being sent to centers that hardly have supervisors. I'll give you an example of Tororo. And I'm told there are 9 coming. Now, this is going to be a real abuse of internship, a mockery of internship. And the outcome is not what we would desire for our society or our communities. I think many have suggested alternative ways of funding internship, because unless we have equity, the people who are going to be most affected, unfortunately, are those poor who have struggled paying for their training and again now are being given this extra challenge. While those who are privileged have gone to the best schools and probably had the best training and walk straight into internship already sponsored. So the issue of equity is very important. And so that will be our approach. We have participated already in bringing drafting some of the positions that the U.M.A. has brought forward, and I think I hope that you all appreciate that bit. I think I would like to stop here and just conclude that the elders had the best training and the best internship. We know what internship is, how involving it is. For us, we had everything. We had accommodation, and all we needed to do was to be there at work and do our best to pick as much as we could. And this is what we would like for each and every one of you. and for the sake of our communities, our populations, and the people we are called to serve. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and all of you colleagues who are here.
Thank you so much,
Dr.
Epwat. You've always represented the Elders Association very well, and you always come through, so we appreciate for those kind words. I'm inviting Dr. Chisache Lydia, the First Lady of the evening, to speak to us. Please use the next 2 minutes so that also somebody else can come on. Dr. Chisache, you're welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, the president and everyone who has organized. First of all, I'm not a doctor, I'm a nurse. I'm a nurse, Lydia, and one of the interns. And I really want to appreciate everyone who is. I'm busy. So I'm busy. So what I was saying that I want to appreciate everyone who has been on this struggle, and let's keep the struggle. But I want to encourage all the nurses. Like I want to hear some nurses also coming up to fight, because we won't be here. This matter is not only about medical students only, but even us nurses. So I will encourage all the nurses to come up and so I want to engage all the nurses so that they can also be part of this motive which is going on. And I pray that we wherever we are trying to achieve, we get it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nance Lydia, for that submission. Dr. Solomon Okello, please make your submission, 2 minutes max.
So, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Okello Solomon, a medical officer and advancing now into surgery. So I want to thank everyone, Dr. Frank and the team, for organizing this great meeting that
Dr. Solomon, are you still there?
Next person.
Dr. Morris Ntunguka, please, welcome. Okay, let me try Dr. Richard Kalunji. Are you there?
I'm here. Sorry, Dr. Gavin. Allow me speak. I'm called Dr. Morris Ntunguka.
Okay.
My submission was, first of all, we have been in this situation before. We have had a time when interns were not paid, and then we managed to solve this. And how did we do this? And what did we learn from that? At that time, if I remember well, it was only one thing that restored us. It was when we met with the president to help us solve this. All the meetings with the ministers, calling them names and whichever shouting, meeting the speaker, nothing worked. It's until we worked with the president to solve the problem. And if I remember well, in his own words, he said, working without pay is modern day slavery. And that's how SHOs began getting payment as well. So the question is, what's stopping us from meeting the president? Where are we in that regard? Where have we reached? Because if we, in my own perspective, if we don't, nothing is going to change. All these ministers can change but there is one person who does not change, and that is the person who calls the shots. That is the person, like we said, like the president said, whoever pays the piper is the one who will determine the tune which will be played. So these ministers are there to serve the interest of the president and the interest of the NRM. As long as the government in charge, which is the government of NRM, which many of us may not be comfortable with, but it's the fact on ground. As long as we are not aligned with their interest, we can make noise. The sunshine will come down, but you can be sure nothing is going to change. And at the end of the day, the only person who will have to come out as a hero to solve our problem, like it was last time, will have to be the president. Otherwise, these ministers know where the problem is. They are just afraid to speak up, because the moment they speak otherwise, the moment they are not aligned with the interest of the president and the ruling government, they'll just be pushed aside and they bring in someone else. So please, U.M.A leadership, U.M.A president, let's work on getting a meeting with the president. Let's work on finding an answer. How are we aligned with the interests of the ruling government? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ntunguka. Dr. Florence Namutebi, the floor is yours. 2 minutes, please.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Gavin. I greet you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you for modulating this. I want to thank Dr. Frank for spearheading, plus all the U.M.A. First and foremost, my name is Florence Namutebi. I'm the outgoing welfare of FUMI. And I want to make 1 or 2 points. One is in the recent media engagements we have seen, the Minister of Health, we have now seen an emphasis on paying government-sponsored students who are now not students, who are interns, who were on government sponsorship, and those are the ones they are committing to be the ones they want to give the money. But I would like to tell the interns on this call that this should not be taken lightly. This is a divide and rule strategy. They are going to marginalize the population, and then later on that will be scrapped off. They did this last year when they scrapped off some people from payment, and then we took it lightly. But now if they do that, and then I know some people will start saying, I am on government, I am going to go and report to my site because, you know, they are going to pay me. But I would like to tell you that you should not sideline your friends. This is something we can win when we are together as one, the interns fraternity. If you start reporting and they have 1,000 people out of the 2,400 reporting to the sites, I assure you the rest of the people are going to be in trouble. So this is a call that you please let's stay with our friends, and this will come to an end. And also I would like to also add my voice to the previous speaker. Problems such as this have happened before, and like you have said, you notice that in most of our engagements we have reached almost every office in this country that we feel could help. So now I think the gun should be shot at the right place, which is the President's office. I submit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Namutebi, for that submission. Dr. Richard Kalunji, the floor is yours. 2 minutes, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nyanzi. And I really want to thank everyone that has spoken already. I love the passion. I love the commitment. My submission is in about 3 parts. I like what Dr. Maurice Ntunguka shared, that the end goal is to speak to that man and get things sorted. but realize that that can only be a temporary solution or a temporary stopgap to whatever is being discussed now. So the end goal, yes, the end in mind could be to meet the president and put an end to all this that has been going on for over 25 years. But the second point I need to point out is the interns struggle really innocently. You know, when you're talking about internship exams, internship allocation, internship allowances, these are the things that you suffer as an intern, not because it's your problem, but because of other people's problems. And this could be two ways. One is the leadership at Ministry of Health. You rarely hear a Minister of Health, a State Minister of Health, a commissioner saying that this must end, or this is how internship should be. And you're now hearing people pushing the narrative of lack of demand. That's not true that Uganda doesn't need doctors. Almost 100% of the hospitals in this country are understaffed. So as leadership, as leadership of Uganda Medical Association and doctors, we need to go to these guys, not yes to ask them to help us, but we need to go to them with solutions on how do we get these doctors absorbed and how do we put an end to this mess or this problem. We've designed documents in the past, but how do we push these guys to become leaders, to discuss these documents on the table of parliament and then push them to the president? The second point is about our leaders, seniors, consultants, and hospital leaders. When a hospital leader becomes part of the problem, in a sense that, you know, they are threatening the interns, they are threatening everyone. Sometimes these people do this because they're only trying to protect their job. So how do we come in as medical leaders, as Uganda Medical Association, to put the senior doctors, just like Dr. Frank Asimu has come out strongly, to use the senior leaders that are and doctors that are on our side to push their colleagues. If at least they don't support the interns, let them not be accomplices. Let them not support the wrong things that are happening. The final thing that I want to say is from this meeting, you realize that interns can actually come in large numbers to fight for their welfare, to fight for better policies. So how do we use these numbers that we have? Push pressure on the senior leaders and the senior doctors, to push pressure on Ministry of Health, to push pressure on Parliament and the President, but not doing it just by requesting for money and allowances, but showing that, you know what, this bust is actually not bad as the ministers are saying, that these interns and these medical officers can be pushed to hospitals, they can improve the indicators of health, they can help people access health better. So the pressure should be hinged not just on asking for allowances, but showing that we are people hungry to transform our healthcare, but the ministers and the senior doctors are blocking that, and that should get into the eyes of the president so that we get a permanent solution to this, and also link it to the education problem. That how do you ensure that people who are studying are going to meet somewhere or are going to find work somewhere? Instead of getting it as excuse that, you know, we don't have enough slots, we don't have enough blah, blah, we don't have enough allowances. We need to get to that point where we cause that predictability around recruitment of medical students and allocation of medical interns and medical officers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is 2019 hours. I guess we need to be signing out of this meeting by 9 o'clock. I think going forward, please let our submissions be about the way forward. Dr. Mubangizi, can you begin us off? What is the way forward from, what are we picking from this meeting? Hopefully at the end of this meeting, we shall have some resolutions. Dr. Mubangizi.
Just a quick one, Dr.
Mr. President.
Dr. Mubangizi, just a minute.
Thank you so much, everyone. I thank everyone for being on call for this important cause.
Just a minute.
Dr. Mubangizi, hold on.
Kindly, whoever is in charge of the call, don't end it at 9, please. Let's push it a bit further. But yes, let's begin talking the way forward. I had seen Dr. Kaweru's hand up, so let's give him a chance to speak, and then we begin changing the tide to now talking about the take-home. What must we do? What resolutions must we endorse in this meeting? What is our ask of ourselves? Thank you, Dr. Mbangi. Sorry for interrupting. Carry on.
Thank you much, our president, and I thank everyone for being on call. I want to make some suggestions which are part of the way forward. One, we realize that one of the strategies that the government uses, I should use the government or ministry, is a threatening strategy. As you have already heard, the minister will very soon instruct all the hospitals to submit the names of the interns who have already reached at the training centers, meaning like sort of divide and rule such that some people can report immediately out of fear, and others are still on a demonstration or as they are waiting for government to clear them. I want to request the leadership of FUMI and U.M.A to write letters to the EDs requesting them to halt as we await the government to clear the situation of interns, such that by the time the minister writes to them to submit the names of interns who have already reached at the centers as a way of threatening strategy, we at least have some information backing up some of the interns in waiting. Number two, I want to request that the leadership of SHOs, because SHOs are very, very instrumental as far as working in the hospitals are concerned. I'm even sure that hospitals are now running because of the SHOs. So I want to request the leadership of SHOs to write to the different hospitals to give space to await for the interns as we wait for government to clear them. Number three, FUMI and U.M.A and the leadership, we should request all the interns who are still in the hospitals to vacate. If we said that internship has ended, what are some of the interns still being in the hospitals and who are they? They should vacate such that the true gap which is felt when the interns are not in the hospitals can be felt. Number three, we need to engage the media at all levels. Regional U.M.A branches, especially, okay, I want to give an example of Ankole. We have been engaging media. I have been on TV. I didn't introduce myself, Sebastian. I'm the U.M.A publicist for Ankole. So we have been engaging media at different levels. Even next week, this weekend, I'm going to be on TV. I have been on TV West. I'm going to UBC. So different U.M.A branches engage the media because at the end of the day, public have a bigger say as far as what we are doing is concerned. The last one, the second one is the Elders Forum. Elders are highly respected as far as the issues of interns and in general health system is concerned. If the president, U.M.A president and other FUMI and the other health components can organize meeting the president of the country, let us include the Elders Forum because they have a bigger say. Lastly, I want to put a contribution to what someone said, that it is only President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni that is going to solve our issues. Why? Because most of the other stakeholders try to shield him from reality by creating a situation so that they are hardworking and therefore the situation at hand is good. So as we try to push on all these efforts, we should give a priority, the biggest energy to meeting the president. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Mubangizi, Publicity Secretary of Ankole, U.M.A Ankole, for that submission. Dr. Kaweru, are you still online? The president has called on you to give your speech at this time. Vice President?
Thank you very much. I am still very available. Thank you very much, Dr. Gavin, and thank you very much, President, for seeing my hand. It has been there for an hour. And I just want to reiterate a way forward. Mine are going to be questions. One, what if we decided to walk with the interns to Parliament? That is A. Or if we decide to walk to Minister of Health with the entire group. Or if we decide to walk to State House, all of us, then I'll ask, can we prepare police so that we get clearance? And then two, can we get our legal team to prepare? Suppose some members are put behind bars, and we make sure that they are out. And obviously, we need to guard so that they don't go to the basement, because that may be very difficult for us to bring them out. And then the other thing is, can we make sure we speak one word? Can all the interns who have gone wherever they are go back to their homes? And we sort out this thing for once and for all. And then three, we have already logged in our cases in courts of law, and some I think are due for mention. Can we also engage the courts of law and see that we get ULS the new bar guys, and they help us so that we navigate some grounds that are still sticky and stuck. And then four, can we plan for an industry action? It is not in bad faith. You know, when negotiations fail, and then we are talking backward. Let us maybe plan for an industry action, and we plan wisely. Because if people fail to understand you, you go the extreme. We are not running away from Uganda, we're in Uganda, but I think we need to plan towards those lines. Otherwise, if we don't do that, Ugandans don't listen to actually most diplomatic means. You can be diplomatic, you will end up being like a DP. So I want to end there and give other people an opportunity to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Wow,
much, Dr.
thank you so
Kamwel.
much.
Thank you very
Oh.
much for changing the tide. I would like to just say a few words, then invite the legal officer of U.M.A to give us an opinion. We need to have 3 arms right now as we speak. We have done very well with publicity. We need to engage our legal arm, and we need to engage the gear that Dr. Kamwel is talking about. If it means laying down our tools, we need to talk about it and plan it well. Allow me to invite the legal representative to speak, then we can now begin talking on what must we do practically, because we've been here for 1.5 hours. Councilor Namaganda.
Good evening, doctors, and all the members on the call. I want to thank you so much for all you're doing for the public, provision of care, but also the teams which have been leading the advocacy, the mediation and reconciliation with government to see that there is a change in provision of care, in the treatment of interns and recognition of their service. Many has been said, but I would want to look at what we have done so far. We filed a case challenging the withdrawal of allowances to the senior house officers, the fellows, the interns, and the refugees. As Professor Sim was submitted, they had informed them that they are withdrawing for some, and by I think April, we saw that everyone now has, I think majority of the team members have been withdrawn from receiving allowance. And in our case, we filed that is the miscellaneous cause number 107 of 2026. Among the things it's challenging is discrimination. We're looking at all the other government employees who are receiving additional allowances, including Minister of Health, and any other government employee who receives additional allowances, and we're taking allowances from those deprived government officials who are nurses, who are clinical officers, but now they had upgraded. We also looked at each violates their right to health. Them, let's not even first go to the public, to them, because when they have no food, those are social determinants of health, accommodation. Those are the basics which everyone needs. We also prayed, among others, that court should also look at the rights of refugees and also the economic right for one to practice their professional. That is under Article 40. And among the things we're praying that that the Ministry of Health pays all the different deprived health workers, plus also seeing that also Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development also increases the budget for Ministry of Health so that they can be able to meet their different obligations. Among them is the obligation to paying all the different interns at all different sites. And also we prayed for court to go and visit. These are our prayers in that case. However, all those prayers are almost linked to the NET policy, that is the National Education for Health and Training Policy, which we are seeing that has brought out the withdrawal of all those allowances now and only leaving them to the government-sponsored students. That causes the first thing we talked about, the discrimination. So when we have all this, what does it mean? When we have the NET policy, it means that when government has passed it, it is now still darling, what are we removing, what are we not removing? The net policy is not even looked at as a whole. It has different violations. The violation of the different laws, the statutory laws, the U.M.A Act, the Nurses and the Midwives Act. When you look at the Act, the Pharmaceutical Societies Act, are all being infringed by the one policy. So when we are looking at government, it has to go back and handle this holistically, which I think they are not even doing. And we are looking at them taking away all the different, the Tertiary Institutions Act. It takes away the Senate obligations in the different universities. I wonder why the universities are quiet. What is going to happen is going to be the closure of them, because when you look at that policy, it talks about if they fail to abide by the policy, they are going to cancel. We shall see universities paying a huge amount of money, and who is going to suffer most? There will be the students, the medical students, the pharmacists, the nurses, who are in those universities. So if some people are thinking they're in the first year, they're in second year, it is yet to come and bite you. So it's going to come and bite each and every person. The universities will close the medical schools. And we know, as we are seeing this policy, if we're going to go by the basis of the law, it was going to start with the current students who have joined the university. But for it's going even upwards, that even people who have entered now, it's already working, it's already being implemented. So those are going to be some of the challenges of the policy. The legal team, we had asked for all the evidence you have. We appreciate some of the students, some of the interns from Barara had provided their evidence, but majority didn't provide that to enable us conclude the case. Because we have seen, I know many have said that we need to go to the president, we shall have our redress. That is very right. But also we have seen, for me personally, I've seen over the years that government has listened to court. The court have come to interpret this. Are these students? Because right now we've seen, I think I saw the president saying the medical students, the interns are medical students. Are they going to be medical students? Those are pronunciation need to be pronounced by somebody very independent who would look at this objectively. That would be the court. Because even when they go to the president, they are meeting him day in and out than most of you people. When they go, they are telling him the same information. These are students. So you need an independent person who would be the court to come back to define who is a medical student, looking at both international and national laws. When we also look at those definitions, also you're going to see the incorporation of the sixth year. All those need to come back to a neutral person, which in most cases would look at the submission of both parties, both the applicant and the respondent, which could be Attorney General, and then make a neutral definition or even come to that. If they go to appeal, it can go, but still the court have always hoped to normalize some situations in some of these. Depending on the expertise, which our elders can bring on board, as Dr. Epworth brought, they would look at those expertise plus what, so that we have that. So when we look at all that, can only be defined and come to conclusion, and also to see that why, when they take away these allowances, what does it mean? So I believe also court can help us come to that, to look at it. Is it a right to health? What about when they're providing care? What about the specialists? If they're going to have supervision, if you're going to leave patients in the hands of the students, is it going to be an entry for even other students who are in third year to start also claiming to get the care? Because all this it's an opening to the medical fraternity or the health fraternity or the health system. So which you have to look at it. So when we look at this, government is now not doing progressive realization. It is looking at it in the negative, taking away that internship allowance. It is not progressive, because progressive realization we have seen from 1 million now, which people have been getting, to 2.5 to to 4 million. So that is all what is happening. So what am I praying? We had requested the legal team. I know many interns, many students feared it. They looked at the bill. It is running for 3 years. But also we said if each individual could put 10,000 shillings, we could fight with also the legal. We could fight using all those different angles, engaging government, approaching the president, going to the ministry, all the different, plus the legal, that when we have it holistically, we can achieve the best out of this. We are already late. People are supposed to be reporting. They are going to be waiting for them. We are going to see other orders where people have not reported. But as you said, if you stand together, you can achieve together. But also the legal team, as Dr. Kabweru said, we are going to be prepared. If there is any person who is arrested, please notify U.M.A so that we can be able to come and stand with you. Thank you.
So to distill this discussion, Dr. Gavin, we need to begin asking questions and provide answers. One, what is the stand of this body regarding the position that the interns have taken? Are we ready to support them? Can we put pen to paper and say we support what the interns have done? Then what are we ourselves going to do beyond supporting what the interns have done? I want us to begin answering those few questions and come up with a way forward. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Chivenge, Paul Chivenge, Chairperson of U.M.A SACCO. The floor is yours, and after that it will be Dr. Just to give order, we shall have after him it will be Dr. Daisy,
please. Nyesiga, please.
And then Yesiga. Okay, each one of us has 1 minute. Dr. Chivenge, you're welcome. Dr. Paul Chivenge, are you still online? Dr. Daisy, come through as Dr. Chivenge gets ready.
Good evening, team. Thank you so much, doctors. Thank you so much, U.M.A team, for fighting with us. I am an intern doctor, and thank you so much for not giving up on us. My first plea or my first idea is we should first of all find a way of doing away with this. I think the name internship sends a very, very big misconception, and it's misidentifying us. I don't know whether that is possible, that we can find ways, if possible, legal ways of doing away with identifying ourselves as intern doctors. Then the second thing is, of course, some of our colleagues have been threatened into reporting. In Zambia team, to be particular, they have greatly been threatened, and today they went to ward. A great number of them went to ward today. It's quite unfortunate. But I don't know if still through U.M.A, we can find a way of mobilizing our site coordinators, the different in charges of interns at the stations, and we see if we can have a meeting with them. I don't know, maybe as urgent as we can, maybe tomorrow, maybe if we have to, I don't know how we are going to mobilize them, but I'm requesting if that is possible, we have a meeting with them. They are our seniors, and we see it like brothers and sisters and say, okay, you guys, this is what these kids are going through and it's not worth it. Then the other thing is, not forgetting, the last thing I wanted to talk about is, as we are advocating, we have surely made noise in all corners, and like we are seeing, all the fights are now looking towards meeting the president. I heard in corners that some people do not want Dr. Asimo in particular to get to the president. Please, let us put more energy there around how we can make sure he gets there. We are still approaching more people. We shan't give up as we do this. So that is all that I had to say. We need to meet the president. It's urgent. The last thing is, now that the deadline is coming, I hope we come up with a plan that us who are planning not to report, of course, they are planning to reprimand us so badly. What should we do in that case? Like, they are going to submit those lists after 14th and our names won't be there. Is there any piece of advice you would give us on what we should do when that happens? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
Dr. David. Allow me to burst your bubble. We have been trying to meet the president since November, and we have failed. Whether that is a failure on our side or we have been deliberately blocked, that is for historians to write. Right now, we have failed. Though we have failed to see the VP, the PM, the minister. It was only when the interns walked to his office that he received them. There is a blockade for us to see the president. So our answer there, we can dance around, we can say it using all kinds of emotions, but we have been blocked from seeing His Excellency. I have tried all my tricks, I've tried all my connections, official and otherwise, and they are not working. So, while you think that is our solution, yes, it could be a solution, but it's not working. Let us move some of our eggs from that solution. I beg to submit.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. We are answering two questions as we submit. Are we supporting the decision taken by the Federation of Uganda Medical Interns, number one? Number two, what are we going to do as Uganda Medical Association, as PSU, as the Uganda Dental Association, as the Association of Graduate Nurses and Midwives? Osborne from the PSU, I'll give you an opportunity. Osborne, I think the General Secretary. Osborne.
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. First of all, I would like to send in apologies on behalf of a number of pharmacists that have not been able to attend to support the young pharmacists and the general medical fraternity. But as the pharmacist circle, the organization I can speak for directly, would wish to have interns paid, and we know the importance of us, how we can actually grow our welfare, not only during the internship, but also after this internship is done. We've also had engagements with U.M.A a number of times, and also this Saturday. Interns are it's a very core aspect of interns, and not only once again during the internship, but also after them as a stepping block. So in their survival, in their progress to the profession, but also in the protection of our profession as a whole, we need to take a core stand, as Dr. Frank has said. There is a language that we must also now speak differently. Of course, there are issues to do with how the response has come from government, but we never have to tire and never have to give up. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mark. Thank you.
I've seen Dr. Lutoti. I've seen him on the call. He can pick it up from there in a minute or two. Dr. Lutoti, PSU.
Okay, thank you so much, comrade, and thanks for this emergency meeting. The facts speak for themselves. There is no way one can do internship without facilitation. At my office now, I have received some letters from some of the interns who are here to report they are stuck, and some are saying over they reserve their positions and they be able to start maybe next year when they are able to facilitate themselves. Case in focus, someone is from Kasese and has been deployed in Moroto.
Dr. Lutoti, are you still on?
I think I can give my submission, Dr. Gavin.
Please go ahead, 1 minute. But as you give that submission, the Vice President and the President asked very critical questions.
Yes.
Are we gathering together, marching to State House? Are we gathering together, marching to Ministry or to Parliament? Are we standing with FUMI? And what is our position?
Thank you so much. This is Dr. Amos Nyasiga, the treasurer of the SHO's residence in Morago. My concern is we should shift our efforts from looking at it as an attack against interns not being paid by the whole fraternity of the medical fraternity. You see, it has been despised and undermined and maimed. People are laughing at us as a laughing stock. Every time and again, you see people, the current movements by the ministers that have really embarrassed consultants and things of that nature. And today, the health minister made a statement about consultants in government not being able to do anything else other than that. Today it's interns, tomorrow it will be SHOs and maybe consultants, and several other privileges will be withdrawn. I think for the president here, the message, it should be nationwide. The president is good at listening to defiance. We need really good defiance. We see it happen in Kenya. They withdrew all the services. Let it be emergency care services, which we think we can do, because that is a total statement. And we can even involve media in this so that we have massive success. This can abate everything else, and we can have immediate results. And we need good mobilization for this to be a success. I think we need to encourage our colleagues, the intern doctors, to make sure that they don't report whatsoever. Recently, I was on a call, and the nurse told me interns had come in Murago. I told them they're not welcome, because this undermines our efforts. And this is our greatest opportunity we have at it. Then the other thing is, with the legal person on board, I think we need to rebrand this. The name interns has been poorly framed because there are other disciplines that do internship and they don't get any, they do self-facilitation. But this is really different. These are graduate doctors who need, maybe we can consult other countries which have withdrawn the terminology. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you
Mr.
so much.
Moderator, I have failed to raise my hands. This is Dr. Mirembe speaking through this account. I failed to join via my official account. So
1 minute, sir. 1 minute. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Answer the question the president has asked.
Thank you very much. I did clearly hear the question, but let me use my 2 minutes to summarize what I wanted to say to all colleagues who are in attendance. My name is Mirembe Joel Nsuga. I'm a former Secretary General of the Uganda Medical Association. The history of what we are handling is something that I've been 2016, and it's been a chronic recycling issue. So with that background, I want to propose and guide as below. 1, the pharmacists, the nurses, the midwives, and dental surgeons must raise up to the occasion now. I know doctors are already up pushing. We must have this solid unity team now. You think of leaving things to Uganda Medical Association will not work. And you should not support from the back door. Get on the front line. If we are working to Ministry of Health, let us see the Secretary General, the President of PSU, and the pharmacist with us. Let us see the President of U.M.A. with us. Let us see the nurses and all the entire leadership. We should be in sync. The things of having a few sacrificial rams should stop. 2, the profession, the healthcare profession, not even discreting whatever, not even creating the classes internally which exist, the doctor, the pharmacist, the nurses, all of us, including allied, are at a risk of a grave, irreversible attack. They are attacking interns, they are coming for the consultants, they will later come for the urologists and everyone. That's the reason why we should jointly handle this once and for all. Uganda Medical Association led a strike in 2017. All of you, nurses, pharmacists, many of you benefited more than the doctors who led. The time is now to return that attitude and lead together. If we are going to go and sit at the door of State House, we are going there together. We're not sending there Professor Simwe and the neck of U.M.A. We are going there physically together. These things of saying for us, we are Simanya should stop. Now, as I summarize, There is no talking. There is no phone calls. There are no engagements that are going to help this situation. The solution is you guys should lay down your tools. The question is how, when, and when is as early as yesterday. How we are framing it, how we are funding it, how we are propagating it is a discussion we are supposed to have, not now whether to go to strike or not, whether who is doing what. No, at this point we should be saying PSU muleseyo sente meka, muleseyo bukadde abiri tu engaging media, nursing tuleseyo ki, U.M.A tuleseyo ki. Then who are the personnel who are going to lead the top leadership of this grand industrial action? The government should know that we are not what are they? We are not limits. Otherwise, if you continue your talk and talk, some of us will not participate in that talk and talk because we know it will not work. For the last 5 months, U.M.A has been engaging government on this policy. They even designed the policy in hiding. We have done everything that is in the docket of diplomacy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mirembe. You've concluded, I believe. Dr. Adakun Moses, Chair TESO branch, please, the floor is yours. Dr. Moses Adakun.
Thank you very much, Chair. I hope I'm audible. I just
Loud
want
and
to
clear.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you very much. Like I said, if I've ever been proud of Uganda Medical Session, it is now. And so I want to thank Dr. Frank, Dr. Kaweru and team, and our brothers and sisters from our sister teams for joining. For me, I'm speaking here on behalf of TESO branch, but also as a senior because I train interns. And it really hurts me that sometimes as a senior, you have to touch in your pocket to help an intern doctor when he's completely hard up. This clearly shows you that something is not right. And if we do not wake up, our own children are going to suffer effects of this. These people, like we've all said, the only language that is listened to is IA. When I was an intern, IA is what gave us money. When I was an SHO in 2017, that's when we got money because of IA. And I want to tell you, I feel we are taking so much time because we are explaining the same thing over and over. I wish we just had a way of coming to a conclusion, whether by voting, but sticking to the way forward now, and we really move ahead. As a senior, I'm under Frank. What the president says is what I follow. I may be reprimanded as a senior here, but I am here to follow my president. Thank you very much.
Thank you, colleagues. This is Christus,
Doctor,
General Secretary for NASA.
Just a minute.
Let's allow the president to respond. Let's allow the president to respond after Dr. Moses.
Thank you.
Mr. President, you're welcome.
So we have 4 minutes to finish the second hour, and we should spend maybe another 30 minutes, 45, talking about what we're resolving. We have 2 issues. Do we support the decision of the interns not to report? If the answer is yes, how? How are we supporting them? How can we escalate beyond just saying, thank you, you did a great job? What can we do to protect them? That if they are threatened tomorrow and they're threatened on Saturday when 14th comes, what do we do? If cabinet sits and does not resolve this thing like they didn't do on Monday, if Monday comes again and they don't resolve this, what do we do? I beg to submit. Sorry, the person I interrupted, carry on, but try to speak in those lines.
Was that Dr. Christus?
Thank you. Yes, this is Christus Atkwase, the General Secretary for Uganda Nurses and Midwives Uganda. I have been waiting for
like an hour. You're very welcome, sir.
I have been waiting for like an hour to just that I didn't make the put my rightful titles on my name. So I'm glad to speak to all of us, and I'm glad to inform you that as AGNMU, we are part of the coalition that is behind this movement, and we are supporting interns. From the last communication, we stood together with you. We said you are the primary stakeholders, and whichever decision you take, we are going to stand with you. If it means going to court, we told you as primary stakeholders, you have to give in a hand, and we are going to also mobilize from our platforms to give a hand. So it is not a mere talk, but what we are saying, we are also in touch. As I think this week I was able to also have a discussion. So whatever we're discussing here, what I know, the information that is on my desk is that the way forward which you have given, that we need to meet the president, it's the same way forward which the minister is also trying to achieve, to meet the president and talk to the president about the same issue. So the process is quite lengthy, but we have to be patient. And again, there are members whom I'm seeing, interns already reporting to sites and that already renting houses. At the end of this process, you might find your names changed to a different location. I would want to advise you as another way forward. If you're to rent where you have been deployed, I think it may not be a good advice. If it is, don't pay more than a month. You might lose money when they make changes after, because we don't know how long this is going to take, but we must be resilient. We must stand in this. Then also, they have also acknowledged that we've made enough noise, and they also know the solutions are two: the Minister of Health meeting the president, or meeting cabinet, which they have not been able to achieve. That is the information from the ministry, and I'm sure if we are to stand together, we are going to win, and we have to make sure we are in solidarity. So to me, that is it. We are standing with you, and the way forward for the interns, I have already given the way forward. Be careful, calculate properly, don't rent, don't rush to be on site and fully establish yourself before you get to the final deployment, because this process might be repeated again. And if you have rented, you lose money. Then for the team, usually I'm happy that for the 2 years, these last 2 years, even more nurses have been able to engage in legal affairs. We are okay with the legal team. What we are saying is, primary stakeholders, do your part. We'll also support you, trying to raise support for you. And at the same time, I will also take time to thank colleagues whom we are working with. We are behind the coalition. We are working together with Professor Frank. We are working together with Dr. Totti, and we are in this together. So nurses who are saying that, where are nurses? And even Dr. Mirembe, who was asking, I know Dr. Mirembe, we've met several times. Dr. Mirembe, this time around, nurses are also on ground and ready to move with the team. This must change, and this must happen. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Dr. Shego, you're going to speak next, but Dr. Gavin, kind of distill for us the thoughts so that we have the 1, 2, 3s. We discuss about them. One, regarding the support we are going to give to the interns. It needs to be crystal. How we are going to support them. What do we do in the instance that they are threatened? Because it's going to happen over the weekend or Monday. What do we do if cabinet sits and turns our requests down? We need to crystallize that. And let me also add that we need to pick up the legal arm. If everyone on this call could give a 10K, that would be 7 million. That would be 10 million. I can assure you, in less than a week, we'll have affidavits written and submitted to court, and we'll have a very strong support for our case. So let's do both arms. Let's pick up the legal, and let's now practically decide how are we moving this forward. Otherwise, we've talked enough. There's no new information we're giving. We're just using different words, which is good, but we need to decide and move forward. Dr. Shego, please submit.
Mr. President, where do we send the 10K?
Thank you.
To me.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Not to
President.
the Uganda Medical Association. Sorry, carry on.
You can send it to Uganda Medical Association and indicate
Mr. President,
legal
that is a
fees.
very serious issue.
Thank you.
Somebody is asking. I think we need to make a communication about that. Those that are willing to support, we are going to share the numbers of Uganda Medical Association as long as you actually indicate that the 10,000 is towards to the legal support for whatever we come up with from this meeting. Thank you very much for that question. Somebody
There
was
was
speaking.
there was a lady going to speak. Please speak.
Dr. Odongo Kara.
Can I say
You're very
something?
welcome.
Yes. Yes, thank you very much,
Allow the
ladies and
current
gentlemen.
president of interns to speak. He has been in here for quite some time, and
He's
you've not
going to
given him.
speak, my brother.
Can I say
My brother is
something
going to speak. He's going to speak.
in support
The
of?
floor,
Then the
floor is
president can
Dr.
speak.
Odongo Kara. Yeah,
Yes,
he will
he's
speak
going to
after you. He will speak after you.
Yes, thank you very much. Beatrice Odonkara is my name, the UMJ chief editor. This whole thing of interns and so on, I have been very strong about it, and I will never shy away from saying this. If we continue like this as a country, I am very sorry, even the super rich will be victims of this, what is happening now. So I want the industrial on the put down so action, preparing what those kind of things. This is one which is acting down upon us to take us seriously. Then secondly, whoever goes ahead to threaten the interns or the SHOs, I think this time we must make sure that these people are profiled and ashamed and named and ashamed, including the hospitals where they are. Tomorrow when they come and they need the services of these young people, when we are in the evenings of our lives, we are going to pay very dearly for all the nonsense we are doing to the young people of our country. Whether inside this country or even if you jump in an aeroplane, you're going to get them outside there. And for me, I will not be, I will be okay with these young people mistreating this current generation and their people in the future. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you very much, Dr. Odonkara, for that submission. I invite the current president of the president of the interns that are supposed to be deployed. The floor is yours.
Hello, Dr. Gavin. As we proceed, I just wanted to confirm if...
Oh, a poll has been created.
Okay.
Are we all seeing the poll?
Is Dr. Alon there?
It must be Dr. Muyanga. Dr. Muyanga, are you on call?
Or Dr. Alon?
Yes, Dr. Gavin, you had told me to launch it.
Oh, okay. Friends, a poll has been launched. Have your say.
Maybe Dr.
Dr. Mark, I think there are some places where we could have more than one option when you talk of sue government.
Exactly.
So the second option can have multiple answers for some of them.
Sure.
Okay, Mr. President, let me, should I first end it and edit?
Yes, please.
Yes, re-edit so that people can vote again.
I think we can consider the industrial action for 14th.
I think question 1 is okay. Only that my preferred 2 answers in question 2, I have to choose between the initiate industrial action and the march to State House. Both should happen.
So, Dr. Muyanga, the poll has been stopped. The poll has been stopped.
I don't know if
Dr. Muyanga is going to work on it again.
Contribute. I think Dr. Nyanzi doesn't.
President, let's mute again.
Moderator, just 1 second.
Yes, please.
I've been here and I received an anonymous call telling me that MANA has been approved that Prime Minister's office.
Dr. Joel, don't deal with rumors on this meeting. We'll meet that information after. Let's don't kill our momentum
Sure.
with rumors, please.
Sure.
Dr.
Okay.
Shego, please present. Dr. Shego, present.
President of FUMI, kindly
Dr.
make your
John,
submission.
please don't tell us your rumors.
Actually, Professor, thank you so much, everyone. I had already spoken. I had already spoken on behalf of FUMI.
No, we want
What
Dr.
I would like
Shego.
to say,
Doctor, no, please, Dr. Joseph.
Dr.
Dr.
Shego, the president of the interns, the current interns. Dr.
I've
Shego, are
just
you
given
on?
him a call, and I think network had cut him off, and he's telling me he's trying to log in. So maybe some people can carry on until he stabilizes.
No, he's trying to
Okay.
join. He's trying to join, but I think they're either not allowing him in or the link is messed up or something.
Are you the vice president? Can you speak on his behalf? The poll is up. Can we begin the voting as the people come in? The
Yeah,
poll is up.
kindly add on industrial action if it can happen on 14th itself. Just thinking.
Dr. Gavin has the second question
I'm
changed.
still seeing only one option for the choices.
Option again.
It has
What
not
is
changed, but
happening?
let us continue. We shall pick the best three.
Okay, can we have some order? I think we are getting tired. We're getting tired. Dr. Mark, please sit on that poll. Let's give you 10 minutes. Make sure that the second question has got multiple answers. Why? We can engage government, we can do industrial action, we can sue them. There are multiple choices, but let us allow for multiple answers. But take your time, please. Take your time. First go through it, make sure that the second question has multiple answers. Dr. Shego, is he back?
I think he still has a challenge with the network.
Then let's have someone else.
Okay.
There are many hands up.
Can I say, Gavin?
Yes, please.
Let me say something small before some other person comes. Professor was talking about these guys being threatened. They have actually been threatened already because there is a letter that was circulating telling them that they have to report their sites by 14th. And if not, they are going to face the consequences. They are not good. So they have already threatened them. So I had the professor saying, what should we do in case they are threatened? They have actually already threatened these guys. So if we have to do something, if we have to, save them, we have to sit down, we read the art of war very well, and then we organize an industry action.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that submission. I think actually now all the submissions are about our way forward. Dr. Nyabwana, there is a minute for you. Your comment about industrial action. Dr. Nyabwana Denson, you're still muted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm sorry I had a problem with the system and I joined late after when the chair of the Elders Forum was concluding. But then I felt sad when the president told us that he has been blocked from getting us to the president of this country. So I'm putting these points well knowing that I may be repeating something, but all the same, let me say them. One, this evening, I heard that the minister was going to be on radio. Have we heard what he mentioned there? Number two, having been in public service for over 45 years, I've been knowing the president to always ask if his advisors have given him advice. So three areas I'm wondering whether we have addressed them. Have we sat down with the head of public service and the secretary to cabinet in a meeting detailed meeting with all our ideas and exhausted the discussion with her because she's always in cabinet on Mondays. Then two, the country has three top people: the president, I think, parliament, and so on, and the executive. Now, have we petitioned parliament? Because when you petition parliament and the speaker of parliament is with you, the next thing is either he leads a process to get you to the president, even if he has been refusing to meet you. But my thinking is that the head of public service and secretary to the cabinet should have been engaged fully and exhausted all options with her, from which next should be to petition parliament, and then the rest. So in the multiple questions, I would propose that we include engaging the head of public service and secretary to the cabinet. We also include petitioning the speaker of parliament. And lastly, I remember the day the elders forum. Now this one I'm saying not knowing what the chair of elders forum presented, but I remember the day U.M.A. initiated the advisory role of the elders forum. I remember in that meeting, in that ceremony, the Minister of Health standing and saying, we are available for both Uganda Medical Association, we are available for the Elders Forum, we are available for a number of people. I remember Uganda Medical Association and Elders Forum. So, but since I'm not sure what my chairperson of the Elders Forum mentioned, I'm just mentioning that in passing, just in case something in it was missed. But Mr. President, we must make sure that we do something for the interns. Lastly, I remember when I finished my internship, I got an appointment letter which said I was on probation. And those who I've been hearing still people talking about intern doctors as students. But I think we needed to tell whoever is listening, in case we can get them off that talk, that interns are qualified medical doctors who have graduated. And what I remember is that these ones are the ones who have chosen to follow the clinical line. And I remember those who didn't want to follow the clinical line and wanted to go to basics, say physiology and so on, those could go even without doing internship. So the people who are calling our intern doctors students should be guided to stop using that terminology by whoever on our Uganda Medical Association can help do that. Mr. President, sorry if I have not said, if I've repeated, but I think
Thank you
something
very
said
much,
is better than
Dr.
not said.
Nyabwana. You've done it very well. Thank you. Mr. President, your hand is up.
Yes, my hand is up. Thank you very much, Dr. Nyabwana. You and Dr. Puat and Professor Maswa and quite a number of elders have really been supportive, and we appreciate. The quick answer to your question is that we have done all the above. This is like finding a woman in obstructed labor and you begin asking her, did you push? Did you wait for the contraction? The third one, did you push? Have you done an episiotomy? The labor is obstructed. It is arrested. My obstetrics is a bit old. It is arrested mid-station. I don't know the exact words. The normal process that you're telling us, we have tried, Dr. Nyabwana. I've tried formal. I've tried informal. I've tried clandestine. I've tried everything.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Don't let me say more because there are spies on this call.
but there's nothing that could be done that I have not done. So let's get that poll, we vote, and we get the resolutions done. So Dr. Nyanzi, no, wait. Dr. Shego will come on. Just a minute. Dr. Shego, please don't lose network. You're coming after me. But Dr. Nyanzi, please get the poll and take us through, okay? And take us through. And please let us allow multiple answers for question number 2, because we can have more than one action taken. But Dr. Nyanzi, after Dr. Shego has spoken, guide us through the poll and let's do it. Dr. Shego, please, you can speak.
Yes, greetings, members.
Just a minute. Dr. Shego is on, don't lose network.
Yes, I don't know something about my phone. First of all, I'm sorry for coming late. I was tricked or dragged away, whatever I can say, into a session with some of the people from the ministry. It was actually on radio with Commissioner. So hey, guys, mute your microphones, okay?
Just keep going, just keep going. This is a war. Keep going. Don't get disrupted. Please keep going.
Yes, so saying that just this evening I have been engaged in an altercation on the radio with it's called the Director of Health Services. I think for you guys who attended that meeting with the minister, you were there. Actually, the minister had also been invited for this session, but he failed to make it. So this was quite important, and I attended. But after that, my network, my phone, I don't know what's up with my phone these days. I don't know.
We have already understood. Please get on to the point.
Anyway,
on
the issue of what's happening, for now, tomorrow we are going to have a press conference. It's going to be a very, very big escalation. It's going to be a very big move on our part, Operation Hiroshima, and we are calling upon members to attend, because we have seen that these people have not replied to us, and they don't think our concerns are worthy. And you see that the time is going. Yes, we only have this week. The other thing is about the legal action. It's still going on, but we contacted SEHAD as I communicated earlier on, because we failed to get the financial mobilization to use the other aspect. The other thing is about this, I'm strongly Operation No Reporting, because I believe that once we report, we are finished. You can see the intimidation members are going through right now that they have not reported. Today, that commissioner, that acting director of public service, I saw him with a list of all these hospitals, and he showed me, said, aha, now you see your list. He took me through all hospitals. There are about 77, and he was bragging about, he had a list of all these other people who had reported. But the good thing is that they are few. They are very, very, very few. The list was largely blank, and there was only about 2, 3, but he circled them and said, aha, you see here? And he said, today I'm going to expose you on radio. You're saying people are not reporting, but I'm seeing these ones. And then I told him that, yeah, but the list is largely blank. So I was wondering, what if that list was half full, or even a quarter way, or even that would be bad. It would be an embarrassment. However, this shows that they are panicking. They are panicking, and our means have paid off, because the presenter passed him, and he said, yes, but they have not reported, and we have given them an ultimatum. Don't listen to those things. Don't listen to those things. Our tactic is working. The only thing we need right now is for Uganda Medical Association to be decisive. Launch an industrial action on the 14th, so that come Friday, Uganda Medical Association is launching an industrial action. We are laying down tools, because now we are chasing a deadline. once our interns here report, we are finished. And once interns are finished, SHOs will be finished. After they come for SHOs, they are coming for someone else. So this thing is something big. It's not only about interns, it's something about the medical profession as a whole. We have been attacked. We are in this array. You are seeing what Namere and Balam they are doing. I call them Honorable Balam Namere. You're seeing what they are doing on ward. You're seeing what they are feeding the president. That's consultants, that these medical officers, they don't work. They are always absent. The medical officers are not absent. The thing is, they enroll ghost medical workers. When they enroll ghost medical workers, and I even have evidence to back it up, when they enroll ghost medical workers, the things in the system don't tally. So they say these ghost medical workers, they don't report. But they are ghosts. In Kayunga recently, it has not even been a month, the DHO has been arrested by the corruption team for rolling ghost medical workers. And this thing is happening all over the country. And they're giving us bad publicity. And once they give us bad publicity to the public and to the president, they can squeeze us and do whatever they want. That is why I want you, Prof, launch an industrial action to put this thing once and for all to end. For me and my interns, the boys are solid. They are very gumite and they are ready. Once we say no reporting, they are not going to report. So on that, I'm going to leave it to you, Uganda Medical Association, to pick up on the fight. We are doing our part. We can even liaise with the SHOs. People, you join us and we fight. We launch a grand revolutionary movement called Respect Health Workers. Respect the profession. The profession was noble. It has been noble. Once I was young, they say, what do you want to become? You see, as kids, we are in family gathering. The ones we say, a lawyer, pilot. But you say, I want to become a doctor. Everyone nods, yeah, yes, that's good, my son. What has happened? They are giving us bad publicity. They are saying we are thieves. We are not thieves. They are saying we're extorting people's money. We are not extorting people's money. And this is being done. It's an agenda. Once we do this industrial action, then we can get the attention of the president. And after we get the attention of the president, our thing will be sorted. Yes. For us, as I wind up, for us, if you want, we are going to engage medical students down here from the roots so that we can shake the system from beneath, from the ground up, and launch a very big earthquake, a tsunami that will leave no stone unturned. I beg to submit. Tomorrow, our interns, we're having a press conference. I expect you to be there. But even if you don't come in numbers, me, I have my kangaroo tactics. We shall get the numbers. I beg to submit. Thank you very much.
Over to you, Mr. President. Thank you so much, Dr. Shego. Thank you for your submission. Over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, moderator. Thank you very much, Dr. Shego. You've done great, not only in this submission, but in mobilizing your interns and keeping them solid. It's like I said before you came, it's quite unprecedented, and we owe you a debt of gratitude, and not just verbally, but practically, okay? We must stand with the interns. Now, I want either Dr. Mbanjira, who has been quiet, or Dr. Gavin to distill for us the asks. What are we asking the members to support? All we are saying needs to be clear. It needs to have a mandate, and then we roll. That is what Uganda Medical Association is about. It's about serving the needs of the members, but not the members who just talk and don't show up. Not the members who just say go and they leave it go alone. We must first of all have the voices expressed in a vote. Once that is done, we must have then the foot soldiers doing what we have said. So please distill for us what are the asks, and then we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. These are the poll questions before it is launched. The first question, number one, is do you support FUMI's decision not to report to duty? That is the first question. Do you support the resolution by Federation of Uganda Medical Interns? Of course, this brings together the nurses, the dental surgeons, and the pharmacists not to report to duty. And the answers are 2, yes or no. Then the next question, number 2, is a multiple choice question. You can vote for more than one.
It says the way forward. What is our way forward? Number one is to the government. Number two, continue engaging the government. Number three, initiate industrial action. Number four, try to meet the president of the country. Number five, march to parliament or state house. And number six, leave the situation to play out to its conclusive end. Mr. President, I wonder if that is clear enough.
The options, are we allowed, does it allow multiple answers? Can you confirm that?
Number two, yes.
Number two.
Number one, it's single choice, but number two, it allows multiple answers.
Okay, that is one. Two, how long does this poll run? Does it run beyond this call? Or does it end with this call? Because we need to be aware of that.
It can't run beyond.
No, let's have one which goes beyond this poll, so that the people here participate and the others who are outside this call can also participate.
We can post it on X and the poll runs for 24 hours or 72 hours. On the U.M.A. page.
Okay. Those who are
How shall we know whether those are doctors, nurses, and pharmacists?
X is a
All
WhatsApp forum.
Let us be a bit more organized. Let us be a bit more organized. We are dealing with a delicate matter now.
Everyone was invited.
Let us post it on all WhatsApp forum.
No, the doctor was saying that I was saying that
it needs to run beyond this call. Maybe up to midnight, maybe up tomorrow in the morning, maybe it needs to run beyond this call.
But
that's what I was
Mr. President, unfortunately, I think because we are doing a Zoom call, it may not be possible. When the meeting ends, that poll will come to a close.
Yeah, but aren't there other modes of voting other than Zoom voting? Can't we do a Google form or something?
Can I give you an idea?
Yes, please.
Apparently, there is a group of class representatives of the different universities where we are coming from. Yes, indeed, if you need something aside of this call, we can have a fresh poll, but the link can be sent to the different representatives and they send to the different class groups. This can be done in a few minutes and you can have an answer to that probably in 1 hour or two.
Hello, Mr. President. Hello.
We can hear you, Dr. Fortunate.
Yes, so we have revised the poll to capture all the possible options, and we have summarized it in 3 questions. So the first question is to support FUMI regarding their decision to stay at home until deployment provides adequate facilitation for living, accommodation, and all those allowances with a suggested 4 million. 2 is industrial action by doctors within 14 days if the ministry continues to threaten interns, intimidates them, or takes punitive action against them, or the cabinet fails to address the current challenges. And 3, to give an open mandate to the U.M.A. NEC to take all legal measures to engage the parliament, executive, and judiciary to resolve this impasse. Thank you.
Okay, quick question. That's a good summary. Thank you, Dr. Mbanjira. Can we have this go? Just a minute. I'm in the middle of a thought. Can we have it go beyond this call? Because as soon as this call ends, if that poll ends with this call, that would be catastrophic. We need to have it in a form which can be voted on beyond. So for us here, we can vote, but then there are those who were with us, were 1,000 when we started, actually 1,000, maybe 500. They also need to participate. So we need to give it a little more timeline.
Thank you very much, Prof. We corrected emails from the members, so we can send it to the emails after the call. but it's good to vote within this call as well.
Perfect. Thank you. So let's just conclude on that. Let's conclude on that. The vote on during the meeting will give us a way forward, like a resolution of this meeting. The voting beyond will gumitify our position.
I'm sorry for interrupting. WhatsApp voting polls are very quick. WhatsApp voting polls are very, very quick.
And
You can use
14 days
WhatsApp.
is enough to wait. Dr. Simwe, this is Dr. Sentongo. I've been quiet, but I think we can, since this was a general assembly, I kindly request we vote and then maybe we supplement with the WhatsApp and the emails. That will give authenticity to this cause.
I agree.
Thank you so much, members. Dr. Sentongo has made a very wonderful submission, which is in line with what the president has said. This voting determines the way forward, and any other voting beyond this, like the members that have submitted, people logged onto this Zoom through their email, the same questions will be sent to them, and that just will be a top up. But I believe, Mr. President, the voting is from this meeting, is what is going to be determining the way forward.
Dr. Nyanzi.
Hello, there are comments in the chat.
Yes, Dr. Nyanzi, the previous poll was better. This one is very worded and it doesn't allow multiple choice voting. Doesn't allow multiple choices. It's too worded. The previous one was okay, only if it allowed multiple choice, whatever. This one is too worded and it's single choice.
Yeah, but the wordiness gives some context and some detail. I don't think it's a problem if you go back to it and read the detail in the words.
But still, maybe the choices should be there so that it's not single choice. Mr. President.
Chair, can I? Because my hand is up also.
I think, hello?
Yes, Dr. Ambanjira, can you respond to the question, please?
The choices are there. Choose one.
Dr. Nyaz, can I say something very small?
Just a minute. Dr. Ambanjira, there's a question about the poll. Dr. Ambanjira?
Yes, please.
Did you hear the question about the poll?
Yes, I had the question, but the president responded to it.
Doctor, please, I request to submit something.
Let's have Dr. Lutoti speak. Then I'll respond to I think the only contentious issue in this new design is when the industrial action kicks in.
Exactly.
Some people want on 14th, but we are being guided. We need to give people some time. We need to give there are some legalese things which brings in like 14 days. Let's Dr. Lutoti first speak, then we can address that particular issue.
Thank you so much, Chair. It is a fact that we have had the joint statements as health professionals, and our position has been always clear that the interns must be facilitated. So there's no doubt about that. For every voting exercise, the voters' legibility is very important. When you convene such a meeting at the moment where now you have the health professionals here jointly, as you indicated in the invitation, and we are all here, it is important that we make the decision. When you open it to the other people who are not necessarily here, you cannot be able to control who actually is going to vote. And so what if they overwhelm us with fake things or infiltrate the things? So the numbers which are here are adequate to make a decision. And our decision, of course, for us as PSU, interns must be facilitated, and no intern will be put on a wheelbarrow to go to the internship center. So the poll question, I saw we need industrial action, and the industrial action, one of the options in industrial action was doctors to undergo industrial action. But remember, this is bringing together different cadres. So you need to rephrase the question. We need to vote now. And whatever the outcome of this vote determines the next fate, so that there is no procrastination. Vote. The next question was on sue the government, and the other one was to continue just engaging. I think without going into a lot of meandering here and there. Those who need further explanations, I think we can give them later. But for now, a decision should be made that if you say industrial action, who is going into industrial action? Is it the interns? Is it the professional health workers who are already qualified? Is it a joint declaration that everyone? And then how are we going to profile those who are defiant? Because if you are having already interns who have already reported and they are there, what is their fate? Who is giving them guidance, and are they going to be part of this? Then what about those who already completed internship but they are still at those sites? Maybe they have been promised some 500,000 or 1 million at the end of the month in the promise for maybe a job and so on. How are you going to make sure that they are part of this? And yet we are able to profile those who are not standing together with others, and maybe we have a special recognition for them. Why at such a time they choose the path of operation instead of standing with others. I submit, Mr. Chair.
Mr. President, back to you.
All right. I think that was a lot of guidance. First of all, the eligibility. I'm not very tech-savvy, but we are able to sieve out who is who among the people who have voted. But the strong point that Dr. Utot has brought in is that this meeting was not just for the doctors. We have other professionals on board. So both the language and the eligibility question should be made a bit broader. But because this was called by Uganda Medical Association, it might be a little more weighty if we take the vote from the doctors. But then in our subsequent meetings, we now engage not just the leaders, because this meeting was, we just called the leaders. We did not call all the pharmacists, we did not call all the nurses, we brought their leaders. So it would be, after we've taken this decision as doctors, if it's endorsed, then now the next engagement, which could actually be on Saturday, will bring together all the health professionals concerned, the doctors, the pharmacists, and the nurses. And then they can also endorse, so that the question of eligibility is not, we don't puncture holes in it. So I would beg that this one remains for the doctors, and then we can go deliberately, intentionally, to get buy-in from other health professionals. But let us address one contentious issue, which I seem to see coming up: the issue of the 14 days, as opposed to immediate action. I want one or two people to speak about it, but let me just first give you my mind. One, we have got an upcoming deadline of 14th, where they're saying if you've not reported, then you're going to be, reprimanded. But on the other hand, we had our chance for cabinet to make a proclamation on this issue on Monday, which they did not. Now, we don't know why they did not, whether they made a decision and they've not told us, whether they didn't debate it. So we probably need to give them another chance to have another meeting. Now, when you look at what has been summarized, there seem to be some triggers that will satisfy the two aspects. Because we are saying, if there is harassment, intimidation of the interns, this will trigger the industrial action immediately. If the cabinet does not proclaim itself in our favor, we trigger it. Otherwise, we give ourselves the mandatory 14 days notice. Because if you don't give notice of industrial action, we are going to be punctured holes into. And since we have got our counsel here, she can guide us. We also need to be cognizant of the fact that you've got people who are employed, and they might say, no, according to the standing orders, I'm not supposed to go to industrial action immediately. I'm supposed to give ample warning. So while the emotions may be a bit high, but let's consider the fact that we need to bring everyone on board. So we must write a document which embraces all people's concerns with those triggers, but we give a 14 days notice. I beg to submit.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. The questions that were submitted, the last poll, the 3 questions, 81% people have voted, and the voting is still going on.
But Chair, with that guidance, if I may, comrades.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If the chair has guided that the initiative is by U.M.A, it means the rest of the professionals who are in here are merely in attendance. Get it? And we are just contributing. If you are going to make a decision on what the U.M.A executive should do, continue taking this and that. If we really want it to be strong, because U.M.A has a profile of its members and their addresses, their emails, and so on. Why don't we you generate that poll? This is a general feeling of the members in the meeting because of those 81% who have voted. Some of them are not U.M.A members, but they have voted on behalf of U.M.A or standing in. If you want to get cohort kind of answers, I could run. For me, I can send that poll to PSU members. Get it? We design the questions in such a way it captures everyone, but we can run those polls through our respective associations. So if you look at PSU, I have all the members, and we can reach each and everyone in just a click. So the link can be sent specifically to only PSU members, and the PSU members will respond. The link can also be sent specifically to U.M.A members, and U.M.A members will also respond. And the same with Association of Graduate Nurses and Midwives, and then also the Dental Association. And then now we have the interns themselves, because among them, some of them, as you rightly stated, some have already reported, others have not reported. Others are in the middle. They don't know, should I report, should I not report? And there are all these kind of that uncertainties. Now, for us to move together, say that if you want the data that you are going to rely on, then it would mean that you have collected it well, as we all know in research and so all these things. The process informs the outcome in terms of relying on your findings. So we could actually run it through these respective associations, and we quickly have a result. You have a timeline when you want to see result. If we say by tomorrow, by the end of the day, the links are sent, the interns are responding, the pre-interns, their final year students who are also coming in into the same, they could also do what is their opinion as far as this matter is concerned. And then what about those in the hospitals, those who are already there and they are supervisors? Because you may have some supervisors there, and for them they are okay, they are part of the team that thinks it is okay, you just come and don't work here without any form of facilitation. So what is their opinion? Are they supporting the induction or the industrial action or not? What do they think, and what do we do with such people? Because the supervisors, they are seniors, and they are comfortable working with interns who are hungry. What is the opinion? Can we be able also to get through them what their views are? And then, if possible,
let me pick up what you've advised.
You also profile them. Yes, you also profile them. Those who are in support and those who are not, so that maybe find a way of recognizing them also in that way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have really guided us, and we are benefiting from your legal expertise as well as the medical professional angle. I don't think we should disenfranchise or disregard anyone who has already voted. Let those who have voted vote. Let those of us on the call vote, so that vote is captured. Now, the members that we invited who are not part of U.M.A, It was to get buy-in. So you can now design a similar poll to suit your constituents. So Dr. Ototi designed one for the PSU. The gentleman from the nursing team can design one, and then we have the results immediately. But then this one becomes the one for Uganda Medical Association. If anyone argues and say that, oh, there were non-Uganda Medical Association members, you can say, okay, let's remove, because you can trace back. Let's remove Dr. Ototi's vote. Let's remove Emmanuel's vote. Let's remove, and still it will not affect the outcome. So what we've already done remains legitimate, but for Uganda Medical Association. Then now that we have got buy-in from PSU and AGNMU, now they also design a similar poll for their members. We put a deadline that by close of business tomorrow, give us the poll from your members. Then now we get a grand meeting of all health workers. Our online thing was Zoom call was 1,000. We can pull it to 10,000. We can also include the medical students. We can have 50,000 people here meeting, and we agree. And I would like to suggest we do that on Saturday. So we get all the other associations to carry out the similar poll, and they come with the results, and we move forward. That's how I would want to guide. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
But Chair, I want to say something small. This meeting should make a decision. I don't think people have been on a call for 2 hours plus to go without a decision. This meeting, of course, I don't think internally, legally, stands to be a General Assembly of U.M.A because 90 members of U.M.A are in here and they have voted. And the General Assembly of U.M.A, the voters are supposed to be paid up members. And we know that
Dr. Joel, please don't punch holes in what we are doing. Don't bring your legalese on us, please. What you know, you know.
What I'm saying is that we should make a decision and run by that decision.
Yes, but when you're making your submission, don't punch
holes. And everyone, there is no hole of punching. I'm just saying we should run together.
You know too much. You know too much. So yes, this vote is binding, and I don't know what the tally. I don't know where to touch. Show the tally. So whatever the tally will be binding. Dr. Gavin, are you there?
Yes, Mr. President, I'm here.
Are you able to see the tally so that we can conclude and say out of there are 1,000 attendees, such a percentage has voted this way, such a percentage has voted this way, and we know that's the decision of this meeting? I don't know where to press.
Prof, you give it some time. There was interruptions with the poll because of the deliberations. So members are encouraged to respond again. The poll had been interrupted because of the many views that came up by the members. But let's have members on the call respond, and we shall. It's, I think, a duty of the NEC to interpret the results. We shall launch the results and we shall interpret them accordingly.
Thank you. There was a lady who wanted to speak. Please, lady.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So me as an intern, my expectations of this meeting is to be told whether we are standing down or not reporting this week or reporting and then later do an action or something. Because if it's taking 14 days for us to know whether we're taking an industrial action or not, then I stay worried, like, am I going to be affected? Personally, I'm in Ginger and we had an ultimatum to report today, as of today. Like, so literally if I go tomorrow, they're saying I'm not going to be registered or something like that. So we really want to have like a decision. Who am I standing with us? Tomorrow we are not reporting. Are we writing letters to all health centers or health facilities where we're supposed to go that your interns are not supposed to come in yet? Something of the sort. Thank you so much. I'm Susan.
Yes. To add on that same note, how about those guys that have already reported, and then we are also getting intimidations that we must report? For example, a point in case Bombo in Zambia, interns have reported. So how safe are we that have not reported yet with all these intimidations? And they are intimidating us that we must have reported by 14. So how secure are we? How safe are we that if we don't report by 14, we shall not be affected?
Okay, I beg to submit something. I've been raising my hand for some good time. My name is Dr. Lutai Musisi Andrew. Prior, I think a month or some few weeks ago, but even last week, I think, there are certain suggestions I made, even to the leadership, even to those who are concerned, I think even to the president. And some of those matters included having a court injunction. Legal matters, because let me tell you, a court injunction, as we have seen, and I read about the court injunction that Council Semakade processed in the time that they were chasing medical interns from the sites that they had gone to. That thing took less than 14 days. By the time we're raising this matter, to have an immunity provided to us by the legal side, it was way back. So now here we are at crossroads, thinking of how best can we handle it. The interim president talked about Shehad. Shehad is also not coming on board to give us clear ultimatums. They are postponing. They are saying we shall meet on 18th, or even above that, to just discuss the matter. We need to have a legal team from a private, advocates that have a track record of excellency, so that when we file this matter, our confidence is above 75% to win. I've been reading the legal matters that interns have been involved. Yes, almost all of them, it has been a win. Ever since 2012, it has been a win also. I think there are about 5. Others are even individual cases of interns suing the ministry and the committee of internship, medical internship. So we have success there. We have used the parliament. We have contacted MPs. I, for one, have contacted MPs. I tell you, if you want evidence, come to me, I'll show you, because I'm not allowed to display. We have contacted the media. That is the fourth estate, another arm in courts. We have contacted the cabinet. Now, why don't we contact the legal team? In fact, when the lawyer talk, I thought we are going deeper into that aspect. But buying more time up to 14th, even someone who's strong enough, I'm a group leader, I'm a site leader. What will I tell the other student who is like, Andrew, my parent is like, I should go, or else they don't know what to do. But if they have a court injunction, sanctioned, immediate court injunction, urgent court injunction, pending review or pending, a meeting scheduled on the other day or the other day, they may have a chance of, confidence to say that, okay, let's buy more time and see, even if the ministry threatens, because a threat released while a court injunction is being made may actually be overridden or overruled by court. Let's trust the courts and let us do something about the courts. The money that the interim committee raised for legal team, for legal services is around 700 plus. And there is also more money, because I had some interaction with some of the members of that team. They said they can actually fundraise 1.8. It is possible to fundraise it and have the conferences as well. Let's put that money in a private advocate company. If we are going to pay, why then will they actually prolong the process of an injunction? We have been in courts of law. I myself, I'm in court with a given hospital. I don't want to speak a name. If you have your money, it doesn't take long. These are things that can be done even in hours. An advocate can do that, and the process begins. I believe in actions. Let's do actions. Then the so-called our consultants, our bosses, our elders will then come in after 2 weeks. But as of now, we need something to help and provide immunity to us as of now. Now, kati. That's what I mean.
You already immunity by not reporting.
Now, thank you very much. I like
part of Mr. President. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Yes, I like your energy. Yes, thank you so much. I like your energy, and that energy has made us achieve a lot. The reason we're here speaking is because you interns did not report. The few that have reported, they are the ones shaking the tree. We need money to get the court injunction. That's one. And contrary, I don't know why council did not talk about it. Council can tell us. We don't need all the 35 million. I think when they first quoted, they quoted 120 million. And that's the figure which was splashed around and made people get scared. But was eventually revised to 35 million. But even that 35 million is if the case is going to run for 3, 4, 5 years. But if for just a court injunction, you need probably, and the SHOs know it, maybe 5 million, maybe 10 million, something that small. But in addition to that, you need the affidavits. That is the part that you people have kept your eyes away from. So I wish the energy you are speaking with, Dr. Altaya, you had spoken about it about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. But nonetheless, we can pick the pieces from here. If we can collect money up to 6 million, maybe 5 million, I don't know, this court injunction can be put. And let me ask counsel to come in if she's still on the call to tell us about what we need to do a court injunction. And indeed, we need that we need that leg of the court injunction and whatever legal things are supposed to happen to boost our case. Over to you, counsel.
Is anyone reading the messages? Can Dr.
Thank
Gavin
you so
show
much,
the number?
Professor. I know we have, in fact, been waiting just to get the go-ahead to have this, because when we sit and draft the documents, court can be able to stabilize, as I had submitted, that they stabilize the, even when we have filed and Attorney General is served, already those are all different wins. We have seen government, when they were acting differently, they are going to act differently, because if they know they have been violating different rights, then it will be that. We can file the case and then we can also pray for all that. I mean, this, because I believe the judge is already aware. I look at this case for the senior house officers. The judge has given us 2 weeks, gave us 2 weeks to have that case filed, to have that case. In fact, if another case had come in earlier by 18th, the two would have been consolidated and they would have all this, because we have one which is coming up on 18th of this month. So that shows you that even the judicial is now aware of what is happening. Other cases, they've been giving further dates, but if you can look at the hearing notice, it is giving us 2 weeks. That shows that the judge is also aware. But if we do the speed up and we get the affidavits, as I said, I think we only got from Mbara majorly, and they are all few. Many documents, you still have them. We requested for them, because when you are to file even the court injunction, you need to file still together with the main suit and all that. For us, if we are given all those facilities, we can sleep and in our drafting, and then we have the case as soon as possible, because we had already started on it. Together we can work and see with the teams that we have it, because it is, we waited, but for your decision, you are still engaging others. But our team is
Can
ready
this happen before Saturday?
The injunction, no, Saturday is very early, because even coming the information from your teams, I think may not even be here with us on Saturday. I have seen this. By the time people are submitting documents, it will not be. We need to go through them probably Monday. We could do our best by Monday, because if all documents are with us by Thursday. If all
communicate about the
Thank you, Council, for your submission. Mr. President, back to you for guidance.
Yes, just quickly, Council, can you tell us how much money we need quickly to get this injunction off the ground? Of course, in addition to affidavits, because it's not running to court with just money, you must have the affidavits. What exactly, how much money do we need to get this off the ground?
If we can get at this moment around maybe 12, 13 million, we can be good to go. Because this is the initial where everything is done. We need the printing, we need a lot of that. All the 3 cases, the injunction has 3 cases in one. We don't have one, because we have to have a main suit, the one for temporary injunction, and then the interim. So all the 3 cases run at the same time. You can't put the injunction without the main suit. So all that, and I think much more, but we can see, because it has a lot of printing and scanning. Nowadays we file on ECMIS. These are huge documents we are looking at. It is not like the ordinary suits we used to file. But even this, if at all we are going to constitute, we need the money as soon as tomorrow that I reconstitute the team. That from tomorrow they are sitting. I don't know about, we need them to discuss. What about the Sehadi team? Because it was also there. I don't know how we can also maybe liaise, because they were having a meeting on 18th, but I'd written to them saying we have another case, and most of the team members here are going to be the people attending court. So, but we have not seen the reply. But now, if this will change everything, if you're going to go as us, as we talk about Kenya and state advocates, then that means by tomorrow, if we have some money, I will reconstitute the teams. The teams are already reconstituted from my side, and however, they had not received any payment. So if we have money, at least some money, I can reconstitute them, then we start, and then you share the documents. Documents are very key, evidence is very key, and also people who are going to share different affidavits. Probably Monday we can see our best that we are filing.
So the reality is we need money and we need affidavits. Short of that, we're just talking with emotions. We need money, we need affidavits. Short of that, we're just talking with emotions, and emotions don't win any case. You must have the evidence and you must facilitate the process. And the legal arm, we must not underlook it. It is as strong as any other arm.
I think as we are looking for that, we should proceed with the...
Excuse me, Mr. President, Dr. Professor. Can I say a word?
Okay, Dr. Is that Dr. Owinu Thomas? Okay, please.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Good evening. I just wanted to say one thing to my colleagues, the incoming interns. Yes, we've been given that deadline, but as we have heard, we may not be able to secure the court injunction before that date. So my question to all of them is, if none of us reported, what do you think the ministry and those hospital directors will do? Will they come and carry us from our homes to the sites? Eventually, no. So my advice would be, let's all not report by 14th. Let them submit empty lists, and you see what will happen. So sometimes we are the ones who are causing a lot of problems to ourselves. And then to the few who have reported, if they could be advised to leave the places, what will happen? So that meanwhile we are chasing this, we have also made our position solid. But now if we have opened up and we are vulnerable, it makes the work of even U.M.A hard to help us, because you find that we are not helping ourselves. Because I'm wondering, if no one reported and then those threats are there, what would have happened? Would they carry us to the sites? And if the lists are completely empty, what would happen? Eventually nothing. So we shouldn't behave like we are so kiddish, like we cannot understand some of the simple things. So my advice to the fellow interns is, people who have not reported, let's not report. And then those who have reported, if maybe the president could guide them to withdraw from their sites, so that as U.M.A and other bodies are helping us, we are also helping them to help ourselves. That's my thought. Thank you so much. I don't know whether it works or not. The seniors who have experience can guide. Thanks so much.
Dr. Owinu Thomas. Meanwhile, before I invite the president back, I encourage all of us to participate in the poll. So far, only 429 people out of 523 have participated. Please participate so that the poll is brought to a close. There must be somewhere on your screen, I think in the left-hand corner, where there is something like a graph, a bar graph. Probably if the poll is not appearing on your screen. That's why you should tap so that you vote and we close the polling. Over to you, Mr. President, as I think we're about to conclude. It's
let's
now.
have more. Let's have more people participating. Those whose hands are up, allow them in. I think I've talked enough.
Okay. Next to Dr. Odu, Dr. Tugume Dixon. Oh, Emmanuel Odong
Okay,
has already
yes.
started. Please go
Yeah,
ahead.
Please,
Dr.
thank you
Tukube
so
will come
much.
after Emmanuel Odong.
Thank you so much. Well, regarding the interns who are already not going, can't we say these people have already started industrial action? And we put it in writing that the industrial action starts with the interns, right on the 14th. And I think that gives them a legal cover, because you have a right to industrial action. I don't know, the council can advise. Then the other thing is, I was thinking that at the end of this meeting, we could have a plan of action, which I think should involve multiple strategies. So we could be having a negotiation as well, but also a timeline for possible industrial action. So can we have this communicated so that we can give room for these people to actually maybe consider what do I say? Consider expediting this process of
Okay, can I give a quick answer to your question? I don't know they are still on. A group of 500 people cannot plan, and there is no pun intended. Planning must be done by a much smaller group. A group of 500 can deliberate as we've done and vote. So let's have a position of this meeting through that poll. Then that
all right, thank
poll,
you. I was not saying that we have it now, but of course, at the end of this, I know that the NEC will sit down and then
yes,
I'll probably come
so
up with the time plan.
Absolutely. So once the poll has come through, whatever the questions were and the answers that come with that will then dictate the framework within which a planning mechanism will be made. So let me just distill this for us. Once this poll closes, okay, then we ask the other professional associations, the pharmacists and the nurses, to carry out a similar poll. Today is Tuesday, we still have Wednesday. We can say by close of business Wednesday, we have got their response. Now, we already have a coalition of 10 associations. The membership is about 20 something. That can be the planning hub, depending on what the polls are going to tell us. Then we'll have a grand meeting. We can say Friday evening, okay, since Saturday seems to be the tricky day, we can say Friday evening, we have now a joint meeting of Uganda Medical Association, PSU, AGNMU, plus of course all the affiliate, FUMI, FUMSA, UPSA, FMIP, all those we meet and communicate the way forward. I would love that we conclude that way. Otherwise, we are not going to do any further planning here in a meeting of 500 people. We cannot, it's not possible. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Mr. President. Lastly, I would just like to urge our colleagues, our friends, let's keep on our social media pages. Let's keep advocating for this. Let's keep these things moving. Go retweet U.M.A posts on Facebook, on Twitter, and so on, so that we keep this moving on our statuses. I think that it would be useful to keep this fire burning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel Odong, for those submissions. I want to report, I hope Dr. Manjira, it's the same thing you're saying your side. 508 people out of 508 people have participated, which is 100%. Dr. Manjira, help me confirm. Dr. Mark Muyanga, are you on the call? Is that what you see your side? 100%. Okay. we are bringing the poll to an end. But as we do that, I'll invite Dr. Thomas. I think it's Dr. Thomas. Dr. Tugume Dixon, sorry. Dr. Tugume Dixon, it's your turn.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, moderator, and I thank everyone on the call. So my main worry is one, as we plan all these things, all the hospitals have given the ultimatum for all of us interns to report by 14. And in a cowardly way, some of us have reported examples of Zambia, Bombo, I hear of Mbare. So I'm worried that part of us will continue reporting because intimidations are there, they are intimidating us. And my worry is one, we do not have something assuring us of our security, that we don't risk our maybe internship or whatever if we do not report it. Some of our coward colleagues are reporting. So what I would request is if U.M.A could come up with these letters that inform the the EDs of those hospitals. At least if we could look at those letters being submitted to the EDs, at least we could rest assured that yes, since the EDs are informed, we shall not be affected as individuals. But if we do not see U.M.A coming up like with letters to those EDs, we are worried, we are uncertain, we are scared, we don't know what will happen to us, yet our colleagues, some of them are cowardly reporting. And again, on the case of raising funds, if many numbers of us are reporting to the hospitals, it means somehow they are somehow running away from the fight, and also soliciting these funds would also be hard. So at least the letters to the EDs would give us assurance that we are safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tugume. Dr.
Let me give a quick response.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Tugume. Your fears are felt, and we appreciate. We cannot write the letters tonight, but like we have said, the outcome of the poll will give us what to do. And believe you me, we know what to do. So rest assured. And this is what they call close quarter combat. This is a fist fight. We're not dealing with bullets or missiles. We're taking it a day at a time, a minute at a time. So 14th is 3 days away. I can assure you tomorrow is another 24 hours. Thursday is another 24 hours. Friday is another 24 hours. Once we have concluded this meeting and we are in one unison, once the other professional associations also take their polls and we are in unison, once we continue on the momentum we have been, we cannot project too far, but we can win this battle in a close quarter fashion. So those letters will come. Make sure you have voted wisely. Let's have all the other professional associations vote and we move in unison.
Thank you, Mr. President. I hope you are able to see the poll results on your screen. Question number 1 was, I'm reading for us the results. 527 people have participated out of 527. That is question number 1, which says support for the Federation of Medical Interns. Uganda Medical Association supports medical interns not to report to work. And for that question, 507 people out of 512 who have responded to that question have voted yes. So only 5 voted no on that first question. Question number 2 is industrial action by doctors. U.M.A resolves that doctors nationwide shall engage in industrial action. And out of 527 who have voted, 507, which is 96%, have voted yes. Only three, which is 1%, have voted no. And the final question is mandate to Uganda Medical Association National Executive Committee, that the National Executive Committee of Uganda Medical Association will be given a mandate to follow up issues to do with the resolutions of this meeting, whether legal or otherwise. And out of 483 people that have participated in that question, 466, which is 96%, have voted yes. Only 17 have voted no. Mr. President, I present to you the results from the poll.
Thank you very much. Thank you, members, for the deliberations, for the work you've done before this meeting, for the work you've done during this meeting. These resolutions are clear. I just want to repeat myself. One, let us also support the legal arm. Let's collect the funds. Let the professional associations submit. In our coalition meeting, we had agreed that the professional associations will at least submit 2 million each of them. So if tomorrow the professional associations, which are 4, can submit their 2 million, which is about 8 million, to Council Namaganda, I am sure she will begin the work. And if all those she contacts can give their affidavits between tomorrow and Wednesday, latest Thursday, we can have the court injunction ready by Monday. That is one. That legal arm should not be left behind. It is very, 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 very necessary. It will guide our actions. 2, if the professional associations other than Uganda Medical Association can run the same poll, mobilize their members, and can we meet Friday evening, please, in a similar manner? We get a much bigger platform, and we have got 45,000 of us. We get all the medical students, all the interns, all the medical officers, all the nurses, all the pharmacists, all the dental surgeons, and we present the outcome of this poll and the plan following. If you do that Friday is the 13th, I think. Am I correct?
Yes, sir, you're correct.
Then we will have preempted whatever is going to befall us on the 14th and on the 17th/18th. I would like to conclude as such.
Friday is 14.
Okay, so let's meet on Thursday. I don't know. I'm not looking at the calendar.
Thursday is 13th, yes.
Yeah, let's meet Thursday. Let's meet Thursday.
Mr. President, your speech is concluding this meeting. I think we've been here too long. Yes. I won't add anything to what you've said. I hope you've adjourned the meeting till Thursday.
That is correct.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Ms. Bye. Good night.
Moderator, closing prayer.
Thank you very much. Please lead us in a closing prayer. Kindly lead us in a concluding prayer, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Gavin. Greetings to everyone here. I want to thank everyone who has been part of this meeting. I want to thank the leadership, the U.M.A president, the FUMI president, and all people who have gotten to speak on this meeting. My name is Kalema Ian, and I'm an intern. Yes, so kindly humble yourselves and we pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we want to thank you for this meeting. We want to thank you for the wisdom that you've given us on all the things that we've discussed. We want to thank you for the unity that we have. We want to thank you that even in our profession, we are still called by you. And we want to thank you that everything that we've discussed here, we have the grace to implement it. We thank you because you give us the practical ways. You give us wisdom on how to implement everything that has be discussed in this meeting. And we thank you that even as we are in this war, you are with us, Lord. You are with us, Lord. It is not that we are waging war against the government, but it is for the sector of our country. We thank you because you've given us the best leaders. You equipped them with wisdom and skill to navigate.
Okay, let's just get right into it. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're heading straight into the heart of Uganda's healthcare system to look at a really sweeping and pretty controversial new policy. It's one that completely eliminates pay from medical interns. We're going to explore exactly what this zero pay shift means for the day-to-day survival of these young doctors, and, crucially, what it ultimately means for the millions of patients who rely on them every single day.
So, Section 1, the backbone of Ugandan healthcare.
I want you to consider this number for a second. 75%. Now, you might assume interns are just, well, students, right? Quietly shadowing senior doctors, taking notes in the background. But in Uganda, medical interns are absolute frontline workers. They are literally shouldering up to 75% of the daily operations across 74 government hospitals. They are the actual engine keeping the public healthcare system running.
And to really grasp that 75% workload, you have to look at the doctor-to-patient ratio. It is a staggering 1 to 25,000. Just imagine being the sole doctor responsible for an entirely sold-out sports arena. To put that into perspective, the World Health Organization recommends a ratio of 1 to 1,000. So this massive clinical burden, it's being dumped on young interns in a system that's already incredibly strained and radically under-resourced.
As you can probably guess, the physical toll here is immense. The Pharmaceutical Society of Uganda and the Uganda Medical Association both highlight that these trainees face a truly grueling reality. We're talking relentless night shifts, weekend rotations, and absolutely chaotic emergency ward duties. And these young professionals are frequently working shifts that exceed 72 hours. Just imagine being awake and working for 3 days straight, all while being responsible for split-second life or death decisions. It's intense.
Moving on to Section 2, the zero pay policy shift.
Over the last few years, we've actually seen a rapid degradation in what these interns are paid. Before 2021, interns got a monthly allowance of about 2.4 million Ugandan shillings. But then, between 2021 and 2023, after some budget issues and shifting directives, that got slashed down to 1 million shillings. And now, under a new system slated for August 2026, that allowance plummets to
U.M.A captured the government's position pretty clearly. He stated that, hey, while they would like to pay, they're facing a serious budget deficit. He pointed out that the state has to fund other essential national services, saying they have a lot of things to do like roads, security, etc. The official stance here is that tying the future of young doctors to government funding is just too risky, and the state simply can't carry the financial weight of these allowances anymore.
Furthermore, Ministry of Health officials have stated that the money saved by cutting these intern allowances isn't just vanishing, it's being actively redirected. Those funds are earmarked to train desperately needed medical specialists, accredit more internship centers to ease overcrowding, and hire extra clinical supervisors. They argue this reform is a totally necessary step to improve overall competency and accountability in the medical field.
Which brings us to Section 4, 72-hour shifts, zero allowances.
Let's look at the sheer financial reality of this, because it is staggering. The Uganda Medical Association calculated that families already spend roughly 205 million shillings just to get a student from nursery school all the way through university. Forcing them to fund an additional year, adding an estimated 10 million shillings for basic stuff like rent, food, and transport during a full-time internship, pushes the total burden to 225 million shillings. Honestly, how do you work full-time in an emergency ward when you literally can't afford to pay your rent or even buy a meal?
And you can see this raw frustration just spilling all over social media right now. Posts from practicing professionals are capturing the anger of a medical community that's asking the obvious questions. How are newly graduated doctors expected to survive? How are they going to feed themselves? Remember, interns are already working exhausting, traumatic shifts. Asking them to do all of that while simultaneously worrying about their own basic survival, it just creates this atmosphere of deep desperation and immense hardship.
So the crucial point we arrive at here is the indignity of this practice. Critics argue that this policy essentially transforms medical training into an elite pathway. By removing the stipend, it effectively prices out the poor. Capable, brilliant students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds will basically be denied the chance to become doctors, simply because their families can't afford to subsidize an unpaid year of 72-hour work weeks.
Section 5. The threat to patient care.
Dr. Mirambe Joel puts it as bluntly as possible. It's the ordinary Ugandan who will get harmed from frustrated, hungry junior doctors. Medical professionals are sounding a massive alarm here. They're warning that relying on exhausted, frustrated, and literally starving junior doctors to perform life-saving procedures is incredibly dangerous. I mean, a hungry doctor cannot focus optimally in a surgical theater. When the doctors suffer, the patients inevitably suffer. And this local crisis, it threatens to build into a nationwide disaster. The Pharmaceutical Society of Uganda officially warns that removing compensation sends the exact wrong message to young professionals. It risks accelerating the brain drain.
If Uganda doesn't value and compensate its health workers, those skilled professionals are inevitably going to migrate to countries that do, which would further devastate that already critical 1 to 25,000 doctor-to-patient ratio we talked about earlier. Finally, Section 6, the future of Uganda's doctors. The Uganda Medical Association has laid out its demands very clearly. They are firmly rejecting the new policy. They're calling for an immediate suspension of the unpaid 6-year degree model, protection of academic graduation timelines, and actual real government investment in expanding internship capacity. But most importantly, they're demanding a return to reliable and timely intern allowances, insisting that a medical internship is a nationally funded public service, not just an unpaid tuition year. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly provocative thought. If a medical internship becomes an unpaid luxury, basically a trial of endurance that only the wealthiest families can afford to sponsor, who will be left on the front lines to care for those who need it most? It's a vital question about where policy, money, and human life intersect. Thanks so much for joining me to unpack this really complex and critical issue, and I'll catch you in the next explainer. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a fierce, ongoing debate surrounding Uganda's medical training policy. We're looking at a pretty complex standoff here between the government, medical professionals, and ultimately, the patients relying on a really fragile healthcare system. So let's just map out exactly what's changing, why the government says it's absolutely necessary, and why medical associations are pushing back so hard.
Okay, let's kick things off with a pretty staggering statistic: 75%. 75% of the daily operations in Uganda's 74 government hospitals are actually handled by medical interns. These are university graduates in medicine, surgery, pharmacy, and nursing, and they're completing a mandatory 1-year placement just to get their permanent practicing licenses. They are quite literally the frontline workers of the nation. They're often working these grueling 36 to 48-hour shifts just to keep the whole healthcare system afloat.
But starting in August 2026, the pathway to becoming one of these crucial frontline workers, it's fundamentally changing. The government has introduced the National Education and Training for Health policy. Their stated rationale for this is inadequate resources combined with a claim that there's actually a surprisingly high number of medical interns entering the system right now. Their goal is to improve the quality of health education and make sure a clinically competent medical trainee is released into the system. But while the mechanics of exactly how they plan to achieve this have sparked massive controversy.
Under the old system, it was pretty straightforward. Students completed a 5-year degree, graduated, and then entered a paid internship. But this new policy restructures the whole shebang. It essentially folds the internship into a 6-year university degree, introduces mandatory pre-internship exams to ensure standard competencies, delays official graduation until after the internship is complete, and, here is the real kicker, crucially, it scraps the monthly government allowance for these interns, meaning privately sponsored students will now have to fully fund themselves.
Now, the government states that a budget deficit plus the need to fund other essential services like infrastructure and specialist training basically makes paying these monthly allowances impossible. As President Yoweri Museveni noted, the government just has competing priorities, specifically citing things like roads and security. The Ministry of Health also argues that this reform fixes a long-standing accountability gap, where universities were graduating students before they had actually finished their practical training. The plan is to take the money saved from intern allowances and redirect it toward training specialists, which is an area where Uganda faces some truly critical shortages.
On the other side of the aisle, the Uganda Medical Association, or U.M.A, has strongly rejected this proposal. According to the U.M.A president, Dr. Frank Asimwe, this policy was drafted without proper consultation with the relevant professional bodies. The U.M.A argues that linking university graduation to the completion of an internship unfairly conflates academic certification with professional licensure. But more than that, they argue it unfairly shifts a massive national health system responsibility, funding the actual frontline workforce, directly onto the shoulders of private families. And this brings us to what critics are calling the paradox. They point out a really stark contrast between the government's claim of inadequate healthcare resources and heavy government spending happening elsewhere. When the government argues that the funds simply aren't there for medical interns, critics immediately point to lavish national budgets allocated to parliament, the army, and even payouts to socialites and musicians. It's raising some major questions about the country's financial priorities.
For instance, reports indicate a staggering 300 billion Ugandan shillings has been allocated just for parliament's food and entertainment. To put that massive number into perspective,
critics have actually calculated that this specific food and entertainment budget alone could pay the medical interns' allowances for about 4 straight years. No way, right? But that's the math. Furthermore, each of the incoming 55 million members of Parliament is slated to receive 315 million shillings, specifically for car allowances. This is happening at the exact same time that the 1 million shilling monthly allowance for medical interns, which, by the way, was already slashed from a previous 2.5 million shillings, is being completely erased for privately sponsored students. And this next point really brilliantly illustrates that paradox. While an intern's allowance is cut to absolutely zero, resident district commissioners, who act as presidential advisors and representatives in various districts, are seeing proposed monthly salary bumps from 4 million to 9 million shillings. Medical professionals are quick to point out that while some districts entirely lack medical facilities or doctors, these political representatives are fully facilitated with cars, bodyguards, and hefty allowances. To top it all off, sources cite the State House's alleged daily expenditure at 2.8 billion shillings. For the medical community, these figures raise some really serious questions about national priorities. They argue the issue isn't an absolute lack of money, but rather a policy choice. And this choice becomes glaring when looking at international commitments. You see, under the Abuja Declaration, Uganda pledged to allocate 15% of its national budget to health. But in reality, actual allocations consistently hover at less than 7.5%. So, what does this all mean for the everyday person? Well, this whole funding debate is happening against the backdrop of an already devastating healthcare worker shortage. While the government claims that there are quote-unquote too many interns, the reality is that Uganda's rapid population growth has vastly outpaced any increase in medical graduates. These policies regarding how doctors are trained and paid, they don't exist in a vacuum. They directly impact a health system that's currently described as dilapidated and highly fragmented, where nearly 80% of the healthcare budget actually relies on donor funding.
And the data reveals a pretty terrifying reality here. Uganda's doctor-to-patient ratio is 1 to 25,000. 1 doctor for every 25,000 people. This severely lags behind regional neighbors like Kenya, which sits at 1 to 10,000, and it is miles away from the World Health Organization recommendation of 1 to 1,000. Uganda's population is young and rapidly growing, generating this huge sustained demand for health services. Yet the current training pipeline and retention strategies are just completely failing to keep pace with those international standards.
And remember, this isn't just some statistical gap on a spreadsheet. It means human beings in government facilities face agonizing conditions. Because of underfunding, with facilities like the Mulago National Referral Hospital reportedly running on just 10% of their required budget, patients sometimes lack absolute basic supplies like gloves. Expectant mothers are reportedly required to bring their own plastic sheeting for deliveries, and patients and caregivers frequently end up sleeping on potholed floors because there are simply no beds or mattresses available.
Looking ahead, the U.M.A's internal documents warn that adding an unpaid year of rigorous 36 to 48-hour shifts to medical training is simply going to exclude capable students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds from ever becoming doctors. It already costs roughly $4,000 a year to educate a medical student in Uganda. Demanding the family suddenly cover housing, food, and transport for an additional intensive clinical year without any government stipend, well, it represents a massive financial wall.
As the U.M.A president starkly pointed out, this policy risks turning the medical profession into an elite pathway restricted only to the wealthy. I mean, if only the affluent can afford the unpaid 6th year of mandatory service, the talent pool shrinks dramatically. And when the talent pool shrinks in a country that already has a severe deficit of doctors, the people who suffer the most are for sure the vulnerable patients who rely entirely on these government hospitals.
With a population outgrowing its medical workforce, heavily debated national spending priorities that seem to favor administrative, political, and military sectors over health, and a new policy that demands an expensive, unpaid 6
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive, highly consequential debate rocking Uganda right now. We're looking at the National Education and Training for Health Policy 2025, or NETH 2025. It is facing a mountain of backlash from the medical community, and we're going to break down exactly what this policy changes, why the government says it's absolutely necessary, and why medical interns are warning it could literally bring the healthcare system to its knees.
Okay, so to truly grasp the stakes here, you have to understand how Uganda's public health system is actually built. Get a load of this number, 75%. That is the percentage of daily operations handled by medical interns across 74 government hospitals. So we're not talking about students just quietly shadowing senior doctors here. We are talking about the primary engine of public hospital care.
These young doctors, nurses, and pharmacists are out there working grueling 36 to 48-hour continuous shifts. Their weekly hours, they frequently balloon to 72 hours of intense frontline labor. They're running emergency wards, they're stepping in for complex surgeries, basically acting as the absolute backbone of the system. Without them, the wards simply don't function.
But a massive systemic shock has just arrived. It's a newly approved government directive called the National Education and Training for Health Policy, or NETH 2025 for short. And this policy fundamentally rewrites the rules on how these interns are classified, how they're treated, and, crucially, how they are compensated.
Now, if you look at it from the government's perspective, specifically the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education and Sports, this entire policy is about quality control. They argue this new framework is built to improve health education to produce really well-refined, clinically competent trainees. Basically, they want to close gaps in the workforce and hold universities strictly accountable for their students' practical skills.
However, the policy triggers a massive structural shift. Under the old system, a medical student would graduate, jump into a paid internship as a form of national service, and then get their professional license. Simple, right? Well, under the new NETH 2025 system, that mandatory internship gets absorbed directly into the university degree itself, meaning students can't actually graduate or even get their academic degrees until they complete a full year of unpaid clinical work.
Government officials like Dr. Rani Bhatingir, he is the Commissioner for Clinical Services, state that this fixes a huge accountability problem. The government's stance is that by making sure practical training is supervised directly by the universities before graduation, they are finally bridging that critical gap between classroom theory and real life-or-death hospital practice.
But here is the real shockwave, and honestly, the main driver of this whole crisis. It's the finances. Because this intensive frontline labor is now officially classified as an unpaid academic internship instead of public service, the government is axing the historical net monthly allowance that interns relied on. We're talking about roughly 1 million Ugandan shillings a month. That allowance was the essential lifeline keeping these young professionals afloat during those wild 72-hour work weeks.
So, as you might expect, the medical community's reaction has been fierce and totally unified. Groups like the Uganda Medical Association, the Pharmaceutical Society of Uganda, and various student bodies are actively resisting. They are pointing out some severe structural and practical flaws. Basically, they argue that labeling intensive frontline medical labor as just unpaid training places a catastrophic burden on both the students and their families.
What's really fascinating here is the specific structural argument they're making. For instance, the Pharmaceutical Society of Uganda stresses that mixing up academic graduation with professional licensure is a trap. Think about it. What if a graduate actually wants to go into medical research or academia or maybe public health? Well, under NETH 2025, they can't even get their basic university degree to pursue those paths without first doing a year of unpaid hospital labor.
And the Uganda Medical Association, led by its president, Dr. Frank Asimawe, is taking an incredibly strong stance on this. They categorically reject the policy. Their argument? It forces graduates into an extra year of intense, literally life-saving clinical labor while completely stripping them of their basic livelihood and dignity.
Dr. Asimawe hits the nail on the head when he points out that this internship is, in reality, a form of national service. These interns carry immense clinical weight on their shoulders. The medical fraternity's argument is simple. You cannot take the exact people doing 75% of the work in public hospitals and suddenly reclassify their labor as a sponsor-funded unpaid academic tuition year. It just doesn't add up.
To really wrap our heads around the real-world impact of this dispute, we have to look past all the bureaucratic jargon. We need to look at the devastating daily realities these unpaid frontline workers are facing. What does it actually look like to be learning and saving lives, but doing it all without a paycheck?
Well, without a stipend, interns are thrust into impossible scenarios. We're seeing alarming reports of doctors physically shaking or even fainting on the wards during 4-hour complex surgeries, like laparotomies, simply because they literally cannot afford canteen food. We're seeing interns forced to walk 8 kilometers in the pitch dark after a 24-hour shift because they don't even have the 5,000 shillings for a basic boda motorcycle ride home. And on top of all that, you have the black tax, this immense pressure to financially support extended family members who sacrifice to put them through school in the first place.
Just imagine the crushing psychological burden that puts on these young professionals. A family might have sold their land, sacrificed everything just to pay exorbitant medical school tuition for 5 whole years. They see their kid in a white coat, working in a hospital, everyone's calling them doctor. It is almost impossible for that family to understand why their successful child is still calling home to beg for basic transport and food money.
So, you're probably wondering, why is the government actually doing this? Well, the state defends cutting these intern allowances by pointing to severe national budget deficits. They say the country just lacks the funds to keep paying these stipends while also keeping other essential services running. But the medical fraternity is pointing out what they see as a glaring, deeply frustrating double standard in how the government is choosing to spend its money.
When you actually look at the numbers, the contrast is pretty wild. On one hand, the government claims there is absolutely zero money to pay the medical interns who literally run the hospitals. Yet, at the exact same time, a budget of 300 billion Ugandan shillings is approved for Parliament's food and entertainment. As you can imagine, this specific contrast is driving massive outrage among health professionals. Let's put that discrepancy into an even sharper perspective. While a medical intern loses their 1 million shilling monthly lifeline, the money they use to buy food and pay rent, incoming members of parliament are slated to receive 315 million shillings each strictly for their personal car allowances. Medical leaders like Dr. AGNMU are using these exact figures to argue that, hey, the funds clearly do exist within the national economy. Their position is that the government prioritizing administrative and political luxury over the basic survival needs of frontline healthcare workers, well, that's not a broke treasury. That is an active, deliberate policy choice.
But ultimately, guys, this isn't just an administrative spat over budgets and academic transcripts. The final and absolutely most critical consequence of this policy clash boils down to a literal matter of life and death on the hospital floor. Think about the absolute precision required in medicine. If a young doctor is completely exhausted from working a 72-hour week, if they're distracted by a pending eviction notice and physically shaking because they haven't eaten in 18 hours, they are incredibly prone to clinical errors. It's just human biology. You simply cannot separate a doctor's physiological well-being from the safety of the patient lying on the operating table.
As student leaders like Amon Nakwasiwe have warned, those two things are inextricably linked. You cannot starve the healer and expect the patient to survive. The financial stress introduced by classifying this intense labor as unpaid training directly jeopardizes the exact quality of care that the NETH 2025 policy claims it wants to protect in the first place. Which leaves us with this final vital thought to chew on. As Uganda looks toward a future of specialized medical care aiming to become a regional healthcare hub, it has to confront a pretty glaring paradox. How can a nation build a resilient, world-class healthcare system on the backs of frontline workers who literally cannot afford to feed themselves? It's a massive question that both the government and the medical community are going to have to answer as the NATE 2025 implementation.
Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a highly complex, deeply concerning situation that's currently unfolding in East Africa. We're going to take a really structured look at a severe healthcare crisis brewing in Uganda. It's essentially a massive clash between new government policy, medical training, and the very real human cost of keeping hospitals running. Let's get into it. Think about this for a second. Would you actually trust your life to a surgeon who hasn't eaten in 2 days? I know it sounds like some crazy hypothetical scenario from a TV medical drama, but based on the sources we're looking at today, this is the exact high-stakes reality facing Ugandan patients right now. A striking medical workforce has brought this precise, chilling question to the absolute forefront of national debate. So how did we get here? Let's start with part 1, the NETH 2025 controversy. To really understand how we got to a place where doctors are going hungry, we have to look at the main catalyst. It's a new government policy called the National Education and Training for Health Policy, or NETH 2025 for short. Basically, this policy completely flips the script. It used to be that medical students would graduate after 5 years, and then they'd do a paid, mandatory internship to get their medical license. But NETH 2025, it actually folds that internship into the university degree itself. The catch here is that they withhold graduation until that extra year of clinical work is totally completed. So they're essentially reclassifying these full-time working interns as university students. And you can probably guess that reclassification has a massive financial impact. 1 million to 2.5 million Ugandan shillings, that was the monthly allowance interns used to receive to, survive while doing their hospital work. Under this new policy for privately sponsored students, that allowance isn't just being reduced, it's being completely scrapped. it drops to absolutely zero. Now, the government stance is that this is simply a structural and financial realignment. Dr. Rani Bahatangira from the Ministry of Health explains it like this. If the government sponsored your university degree, they'll continue to cover basic in-kind support during your internship. But if you were privately sponsored, meaning your family paid your tuition, you are fully expected to support yourself for this final clinical year. The government argues this is a totally necessary cost-saving measure meant to eventually free up funds so they can train much-needed specialists and improve overall supervision. Which brings us to the next critical piece of the puzzle, essential frontline labor. To truly grasp why there is so much intense pushback from the medical community, we really have to contrast that label of student with what these young professionals are actually doing on the hospital floor every single day. Look at this staggering statistic from our sources. Interns handle roughly 75% of the daily operations across 74 government hospitals. 75%. They are absolutely not just shadowing in the background taking notes. They are shouldering the vast majority of the daily workload. The entire public health infrastructure literally relies on their labor to keep the doors open. Just consider the day-to-day reality of an intern's job. We're talking about brutal 36 to 72-hour continuous shifts. They're out there managing acute and emergency wards. They're performing surgeries. They're delivering babies, and they are operating under provisional medical licenses. The medical associations argue fiercely that these individuals aren't just trainees sitting in a classroom. They are qualified licensed professionals performing essential life-saving labor. All right, let's move on to part 3, the cost of unpaid work. When you take all that incredibly intense labor we just talked about and combine it with zero financial support, the practical human costs become devastating. A joint statement from major medical and pharmacy student associations, along with the Rule of Law Club at Makerere University, didn't hold back. They officially declared the withdrawal of allowances as effectively unpaid compulsory labor. The medical fraternity views this as way more than an administrative dispute. They see it as a straight-up human rights issue. They're arguing that demanding full-time, frontline medical service without any pay completely violates fundamental labor standards. And really, the most crucial point here is just the practical impossibility of the situation on the ground. The sources paint such a stark picture. I mean, how do you physically survive a 48-hour shift if you literally don't have the cash to buy a basic meal from the hospital canteen? How do you even get to your ward if you can't afford a 5,000 to 8,000 shilling boda, a motorcycle taxi ride across town? The medical associations argue that by removing the stipend, this policy is demanding a totally impossible physical reality from young doctors whose families have already exhausted their finances paying for 5 years of medical school. Dr. Frank Esimwe, who is the president of the Uganda Medical Association, summarized the core objection perfectly. He points out that subjecting medical graduates to an additional year of intensive clinical work while removing the facilitation that has traditionally enabled them to meet basic living costs just doesn't work. When the highest medical authority representing doctors in the entire country comes out and calls this an unbearable, unsustainable burden, it's a really big deal. This naturally leads us to Section 4, the budget paradox. Now, let's look at the government's primary justification for the policy. They claim there is simply no money available to pay the interns. But the medical community is pointing to a massive, glaring financial paradox. On one hand, the budgeted amount for monthly intern allowances for privately sponsored trainees scrapped to 0 shillings. But on the other hand, the state budget includes 315 million shillings per member of parliament just for car allowances. Oh, and a staggering 300 billion shillings for parliament's food and entertainment. To really drive home the sheer scale of this contrast, the sources highlight that the 300 billion shilling parliament food and entertainment budget alone, just that one line item, could literally pay the medical interns for about 4 straight years. The medical associations are using this exact data to argue that the intern welfare crisis isn't actually an issue of absolute national poverty. It's entirely a question of how existing state resources are being prioritized and allocated. And finally, Section 5, danger to patient safety. So why does all of this administrative and financial debating actually matter to the average person walking into a clinic? Well, a very public warning from a junior doctor captures it flawlessly. It's the ordinary Ugandan who'll get harm from frustrated, hungry junior doctors. This is the ultimate crux of the medical fraternity's argument. An exhausted, starving doctor who has literally walked miles to get to work because they can't afford transport and who can't even afford lunch, that person is a direct hazard to patient safety on the operating table. And the long-term systemic risk is just as terrifying. Uganda currently has a doctor-to-patient ratio of 1 to 25,000. Just for context, the World Health Organization recommends 1 to 1,000. Medical leaders are waving huge red flags here, warning that making an internship a self-sponsored luxury means only the children of the super wealthy will actually be able to afford to practice medicine. Shutting out brilliant, capable students from lower-income backgrounds will inevitably worsen a national healthcare shortage that is already at critical levels.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly powerful question based on our deep dive into the sources today. If survival becomes a privilege rather than a right for our young doctors, who will be left to heal Uganda? It's a wildly complex policy debate, but there are very real human lives on the line here, both the doctors and the patients they are trying to serve. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Explainer. I really encourage you to keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.
Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into a pretty shocking mathematical reality when it comes to public spending and a healthcare system that is, quite frankly, stretched to its limits. We're going to compare two vastly different items in Uganda's national budget. On one hand, the cost of a car. On the other, the cost of a doctor. Let's see exactly what the numbers reveal. Okay, let's dive into this. 1 to 25,000. In Uganda right now, that is the estimated doctor-to-patient ratio, which means for every single doctor practicing in the country, there are 25,000 citizens needing care. Imagine a sports stadium packed to the absolute brim with 25,000 people. Now imagine putting just one single medical professional out on the field to handle every illness, every emergency, and every routine checkup for that entire crowd. It's wild, right? But that is the daily operational reality of the Ugandan health sector. It's a massive mathematical bottleneck where human need vastly outpaces medical capacity.
And to really understand how dangerous this shortage is, we have to look at the global benchmark. The World Health Organization recommends a standard doctor-to-patient ratio of 1 to 1,000. So Uganda's reality of 1 to 25,000? Well, it means the country is operating with a massive, critical deficit in human resources. When a system is stretched this thin, routine illnesses can literally become fatal just because a patient can't get in front of a doctor in time. This isn't just a gap in services, it's a structural crisis.
Now, what's really interesting about this situation is who's actually holding this fractured system together. It's the medical interns. Currently, there are 1,901 interns deployed across 58 centers in Uganda. But here is the absolutely crucial distinction. These are not just students shadowing senior staff. Nope. They are fully qualified graduates, doctors, nurses, and pharmacists completing a mandatory one-year apprenticeship to get their permanent licenses. Because of that massive shortage we just talked about, these 1,901 interns handle roughly 75% of the daily hospital operations in the country. They are the overworked backbone of the whole shebang, often grinding through exhausting 36 to 48-hour shifts just to keep the hospital doors open.
But, getting to the point where you can even work those grueling 48-hour shifts, it requires climbing an immense financial mountain. According to calculations by the Uganda Medical Association, 205 million Ugandan shillings is the estimated total tuition cost from nursery school all the way through an average private university just to graduate as a doctor. Think about that for a second. That's the financial reality before a graduate even begins their internship year. It's a huge investment, usually totally funded by the private families of these students, who obviously expect that once their kid graduates, they'll be entering a respected, stable profession.
Well, that financial stability is rapidly vanishing. Let's walk through the drastic downward trajectory of these interns' pay. Just a few years ago, following a presidential directive, interns were getting a monthly allowance of 2.5 million shillings. Recently, though, that was slashed by more than half, down to just 1 million shillings a month. And now, under a newly proposed policy, the government plans to scrap allowances completely for privately sponsored trainees, basically folding the internship into a sixth, completely unpaid academic year. So for these young doctors carrying the weight of 75% of hospital operations, they are facing a future of zero compensation.
Now, the official reasoning for these drastic cuts is pretty straightforward. Dr. Henry Mwebisa, the Director General of Health Services, stated the decision to cut the allowances was made due to financial constraints. The government is currently facing a budget deficit. So the stated position of the government is simply that the money is not there. Funds historically used to pay these young doctors are reportedly needed elsewhere, forcing the government to tighten its belt and pass this financial burden directly onto the graduates and their families.
And we definitely see this narrative of extreme financial constraint reflected across the entire medical sector. Take Jinja Regional Referral Hospital as a really stark example. This facility serves a massive area, 11 districts and 1 city, totaling over 3.7 million people. To function properly, it requires a budget of 4 billion shillings, but it only received 1.9 billion shillings. That is less than half of what's needed to treat nearly 4 million citizens. By all official accounts, the system appears to be completely starved for cash.
So we've seen the incredible strain on the hospitals, the slashed pay for frontline workers, and the stark deficits in regional medical budgets. The consistent message is a lack of funds. But that brings us to a really pivotal, unavoidable question when we look at the national ledger. Is there really no money? Because when we examine other areas of public expenditure, a very, very different mathematical reality emerges.
315 million shillings. While regional hospitals are scraping by on less than half their required budgets, and medical interns are facing 48-hour shifts for literally zero pay, 315 million shillings is the exact amount designated as the individual car allowance for each incoming member of parliament in Uganda. And to be clear, that's not their salary, it's not their office budget, it is just their individual vehicle facilitation.
Let's see how this builds when we apply it across the incoming parliament. We have 556 members. At 315 million shillings each, that multiplies out to a staggering total public expenditure of 175.14 billion shillings. Let that sink in. That is over 175 billion shillings allocated solely for MP vehicles, coming out of the exact same national budget that supposedly cannot find the funds to pay the medical interns running the hospitals. And this brilliantly illustrates the true opportunity cost of that 175.14 billion shillings. Let's look at the math. If you chose option A, that exact same amount of money could pay every single one of the 1,901 medical interns in the entire country their original higher allowance of 2.5 million shillings a month for over 3 solid years. Or look at option B. It could fund all 1,901 interns at their current 1 million shilling allowance for over 7.5 years. The math is absolutely undeniable here. The funds do exist, it's simply a matter of where they are directed. Actually, let's bring these billions of shillings back down to human reality for a second. Dr. Frank Asimwe, president of the Uganda Medical Association, notes the deep impact of these choices. He says, the policy subjects medical graduates to an additional year of intensive clinical work while removing the facilitation that has traditionally enabled them to meet basic living costs. We are talking about young professionals executing life-saving clinical work, opening abdomens, delivering babies, who now face extreme stress just trying to figure out how they're going to pay for their next meal or find a safe place to sleep between shifts.
So, the crucial point is that these financial trade-offs directly impact you, the everyday taxpayer. This isn't just some internal wage dispute, it's about national health security. Prioritizing the funding of interns means keeping essential, highly trained frontline workers right inside the hospitals where they are desperately needed. It directly tackles that incredibly dangerous 1 to 25,000 doctor-to-patient ratio we talked about at the very beginning. Ultimately, ensuring doctors can afford to stay in the profession saves Uganda lives.
The medical community's stance couldn't be clearer. Dr. Asimwe makes a final urgent plea to the government. Interns are not students. Please treat our interns with dignity. The Medical Association is asking for recognition that these are fully qualified lifesavers operating under extreme burdens in a system that literally relies on them for its survival. They're just asking for the basic financial support required to do their jobs without being crushed by poverty.
Which brings us to our final thought today. We've crunched the numbers. We've seen the 100. All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really intense debate centered around Uganda's healthcare system and, honestly, the very future of its youngest doctors. We're looking at a situation where education policy and government budgets are colliding head-on with the life-and-death reality of patient care in hospitals across the country.
So, I want you to start by asking yourself a quick question. Imagine you, or maybe a loved one, gets rushed to an emergency ward in the middle of the night. You need immediate, life-saving care. Now, would you trust your life to a surgeon who literally hasn't eaten a proper meal or slept in days? It sounds like some extreme hypothetical, right? But as we're about to see, this is the very real human reality that's anchoring a massive policy debate right now in Uganda. We are talking about exhausted, entirely unsupported trainees who are holding the front lines of the healthcare system.
And you can see the real-world anxiety playing out right here. Social media is just lighting up with outcry over this. The public, along with the medical community, are reacting with serious alarm to the prospect of frustrated, hungry doctors working in these incredibly high-stakes environments.
There's a genuine fear out there that ordinary citizens are the ones who are going to be harmed when junior doctors are expected to work full-time without pay. So how on earth do we get to this point? Well, that brings us to Section 1, the NETH Policy 2025.
The National Education and Training for Health Policy, or NETH 2025 for short, is a massive government framework designed to completely restructure how health professionals are trained. Basically, it folds the mandatory one-year medical internship directly into the formal university degree. The new golden rule is no internship, no graduation. Now, the government's stated goal here is to formally bridge that gap between academic theory and clinical practice. They want to improve training standards and ensure all trainees hit specific competencies under the strict supervision of a university before they're officially let out into the workforce. But look at how fast the financial ground has shifted for these interns. Back in 2021, following a presidential directive, intern allowances were actually bumped up to 2.5 million Ugandan shillings net per month. But then, fast forward to 2023, citing severe government budget deficits, that got slashed down to 1 million shillings. And now, under this new NETH policy taking effect in August 2026, those government allowances are set to be completely scrapped for many. The Ministry of Health explains that the money saved from cutting these allowances is desperately needed elsewhere, specifically to fund the training of high-level specialists, since Uganda faces a critical shortage there.
Which leads us to Section 2, a two-tier medical system. Because this policy shift has a highly controversial consequence. Under the new rules, interns are basically split into two categories based entirely on how they paid for their undergrad degree. So, government-sponsored interns, they'll continue to get a safety net, in-kind support for meals, accommodation and transport provided by the government, but privately sponsored interns, they get zero government allowance, none. They're expected to completely self-fund their entire intensive internship year. This effectively creates a two-tier system where colleagues who are working the exact same grueling 36-hour shifts on the exact same ward are treated completely differently when it comes to basic survival support.
Now, the Ministry of Health's rationale is summarized pretty well in this quote from Dr. Rani Bahatongire, the Commissioner for Clinical Services. He states, "If the government has been supporting you during your formative training, it will continue. If you have been supporting yourself through parents, guardians, loan schemes, or other means, that support arrangement continues." So, the official perspective is simply that the financial burden of this bridging year should stay with whoever paid for the initial 5 years of medical school.
Okay, moving to Section 3, the 200 million shilling burden. Because that rationale might sound straightforward on paper, but let's dive into how heavy that financial burden actually is for these families in reality.
205 million Ugandan shillings. Just take a second to process that number. This absolutely jaw-dropping figure is what it already costs, on average, to educate a private medical student in Uganda before they even step foot into their internship phase.
Take a look at this data compiled by the Uganda Medical Association. It maps out this massive, decades-long sacrifice families are making. You're looking at 9 million in nursery, through primary and secondary school, all the way up to an estimated 100 million shillings for 5 years at a private university. That is 21 straight years of relentless financial investment by a family just to get a student to the point where they are finally ready to practice medicine. And now this new NETH policy essentially tacks on an estimated extra 10 million shillings to cover living costs, transport, and food for that 6th year of full-time internship. Medical associations are arguing this is deeply discriminatory. There's a very real fear that adding another entirely unpaid, self-funded year basically turns medical education into an elite pathway. Think about it. If only the wealthy can afford to survive the internship year, you actively exclude brilliant students from lower-income backgrounds, and that significantly widens socioeconomic inequality within the profession itself.
This brings us to Section 4, exhausted doctors, endangered patients. Let's look at how this financial stress builds into an immediate physical crisis right on the hospital floor. Because we have to understand the grueling reality of these frontline workers. Medical interns in Uganda are not just standing in the corner taking notes. They handle roughly 75% of daily operations across 74 government hospitals. 75%? They endure massive workloads, regularly pulling 36 to 48-hour shifts and sometimes even 72-hour unpaid shifts. They're managing wards, performing emergency procedures, and delivering babies. They are quite literally the backbone of a chronically understaffed public health system. So naturally, the pushback from these very trainees has been severe, Just look at this official joint statement issued by the Makerere University Student Associations. They are demanding that the government recognize their dual status. Yes, they are trainees, but they are also essential frontline workers delivering critical care to the population. You just can't separate the two. The medical community is drawing a direct, undeniable link between a doctor's welfare and a patient's survival. As their joint statement puts it, treating this critical year as effectively unpaid compulsory labor undermines morale, threatens workforce retention, and directly implicates patient safety. And it makes total sense. When your doctor is distracted by hunger, struggling to pay rent, and can't even afford transport to the hospital, the risk of a fatal clinical error skyrockets. And that leads right into our final point, Section 5, the brain drain threat. Because this domestic dispute over pay is rapidly creating a massive regional threat. Uganda is already suffering from an extreme shortage of doctors. Right now, the doctor-to-patient ratio stands at a staggering 1 to 25,000. To put that into perspective, the World Health Organization recommends a ratio of 1 to 1,000. This system is already stretched to its absolute breaking point.
And then you look at the financial disparity across the region, and it is stark. Under the new policy, Uganda is proposing effectively 0 for privately sponsored interns. Meanwhile, right next door in Kenya, interns receive the equivalent of about 5.5 million shillings a month. Down in South Africa, it's nearly 11.9 million shillings.
So the Uganda Medical Association has issued a stark warning. By shifting this financial burden entirely onto students and their families, Uganda risks drastically accelerating the medical brain drain. If you don't invest in your workforce and provide decent working conditions, these highly skilled young doctors are simply going to flee to neighboring nations that will actually pay them for their essential life-saving labor. And if they leave, Ugandan hospital wards will just be left empty. Which leaves us with this final, vital question to ponder today. How can a nation expect to sustain its health sector and protect its most vulnerable citizens if it refuses to invest in its next generation of healers? It's a really complex balance of national budgets, educational standards, and basic human dignity.